Honestly, how you play Mustang for work last time?
Why?
You cannot get someone there, Mustang.
Who say? It's actually very nice, okay, the sound.
But you want to play rock, everything all cannot.
Can I survived, but yeah lah. Again, I wasn't like doing the hardcore rock thing lah.
Yeah, you were just a pop band last time, right?
Last time I was with the Lin and the Lovebirds. so you can imagine the Lin and the Lovebirds. What type of rock band will you play? What type of rock song will you play? Oops, are we live? Sorry. Hi guys. So yeah,
You're
in
not live
case.
yet? No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You are?
Yes. Hi guys. Yeah, so you can kind of like have a.
Hi guys.
Hey, you better off the thing.
Okay, it's shut.
Yeah. So you guys have caught a. Okay, I gotta put you guys on. Like, you guys have caught
Bloopers.
how Singaporeans talk. Okay, this is Singlish at its purest form. How you guys doing? Okay, today let's welcome our guest, Wayne. Yeah, he's been like ready for this thing for the whole day, you know. So in
guys.
case, yeah, you can hear him, but you know you can see him because I'm just pushing it out of the screen. Yeah, just to recap. Okay, why I got Wayne in this Sunday or today is because he actually made a set of pickups from my Les Paul. And I'm loving it. So if you guys have seen the video, if you guys have not seen the video, go and check it out. But if you guys have seen the video, I know quite a number of you guys have seen the video, and I'm quite impressed with it. So yeah, so without further ado, let's welcome Wayne. No applause, but you know I'm sure you guys love him just the same. Now I lost him. Why does it happen to me? How come I don't see you now?
I'm still here.
Yeah, but I don't see you. Why? Oh man. Okay, hang on. This is what happens. Okay, when I'm not prepared, and it's Skype. So Skype always have a little bit of a problem. I'm gonna bring up the Skype. Okay, there you go. Now, are you on? Yes, you are on. Okay, so I cannot minimize the Skype window at all. It has to be in the background. Okay, lesson learned. Okay, so this is Wayne.
Hi guys.
Hey Wayne, move a bit. You're off centered. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi Chris. Hi Kat. Hi Robert. Hi Alan. Hi Jim. Hi William. Yes. Hi Warren. How you guys doing? And some of you guys are here, but you know, just prefer to like remain lurking in the background. It's fine. Hi Eric. Okay, so this is my Les Paul Classic, and Wayne has changed the stock pickups, which is a 498 and a 500T, if not mistaken, to his period accurate 1957 to 1960. Am I right? Or 1958?
Yep.
Okay.
57 to 60 PAF.
PF Gibson. So okay, Wayne, you want to tell us a little bit about these pickups?
Yeah, well, okay, so my initial plan was to actually come up with a pickup along to actually mimic the same sound as a 1957 to 60 PAF. Particularly more, I will say, closer to the tone of the 58 to 60 burst. I've always loved the sound of an actual burst Les Pauls, having played and tried a few actual ones before during my time in the US. So yeah, that was kind of the whole target point for me. Like that was the end goal, to get that sound.
Okay. So did it take you a long time to kind of like configure this thing out?
Well, to be honest, right, the R&D probably took me about a few years easily. Yeah, I think it started even before I was doing the single coil pickups for you.
Oh really?
Yeah, it started way before the whole Noiseless thing. Like I was actually studying all of these things from, I think maybe 2013 was when I kind of started like going into this, and when I really became interested in getting that holy grail PAF Les Paul burst sound, you know. a sound that's all synonymous with all your Jimmy Page, Slash, Don Felder, Steve Lukather, the early sounds as well. So, I mean, that was the sound that I was trying to look for.
Right.
And I think I
that's
put all these years into this. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go back to that earlier set of pickups that you made for me for the Harley Benton ST62. Yeah. What was that all about? Can you remember? Because I can't, but
I remember that very clearly, but I can recap the whole story for our viewers to hear. So, I actually made a set of vintage Fender spec pickups first, and then I called you up and I said, "Hey, Uncle John, you want to try this like vintage spec?" Then you tried it, and then we had a problem. It was noisy, so you gave me the challenge to make the noiseless pickup, and that was when I decided, okay, I gotta sit down and really figure out how I'm gonna cancel out the hum and the noise with a separate inductor itself. So that's how we achieved that for the single coil noiseless set.
Okay. So in case you guys are wondering what happened to my ST62, it has been transferred from my hands to my daughter's hand. So this is Sarah, my second daughter. So she has she's the owner of the ST62 with Wayne's Mojo pickup. And I hope that she stays the course. Yeah, she wanted to kind of learn how to play electric guitar, so, well, we'll see. You know how they are.
Sarah can already play what? I thought.
Oh, she can play. She can play like acoustic and stuff like that. But like electric is a different. You should know. Wait, come on. It's a different set of skills, right?
Different skill set.
Yeah. So anyway, if you guys have any question, just post down. All right. So coming back to this this set of PFs, what sort of effort? Okay, what sort of measures did you actually went through to get it as accurate as possible?
What sort of effort? I did not take any stops. I did not take any shortcuts for this at all. No, I actually spent a really, really long time to really source every single part out to as close as I could possibly get. I got the plastics of an original lab tested. So let me show you the original one that I have actually right now. I paid a lot of money for an original piece to try to get it to be as close as possible. So this right here is an original PAF right here with the PAF decals and the right plastics, everything. So I modeled off the set that I made for you with this actual piece itself. So this one was actually a bridge pickup set, so you can actually see that it's actually a short wire, it's not long. So if I'm not wrong, this was from a 1960 Gibson. I'm not sure what model it came out of, but pretty sure it came from a 1960.
And these are braided, right?
Yep, this one's the same braided wire, like just like the ones that I put for you. Same. Yep. And one thing I'm really particular about the wire is it's got to be 2-strand braid. So 2-strand braids are actually the same type of wires that they used to use in the late 50s in particular, to the early 60s. I think it went on for a few more years before they changed the type of wire. But to be honest, the type of wire doesn't make any difference in the sound. For me, it's more of getting that whole vintage accuracy kind of thing.
So, you have actually worked on my old Les Paul classic, and you have kind of like you know how a 498 and a 500T sounds like. So what's the difference? What's the style? I mean, I can tell a difference, but I would like you to tell my guys here, you know, what do you think are the difference, like in terms of tone?
In terms of tone, right, I will say that the 498 and 500Ts are a lot higher output. Even like on the clean sound, they tend to sound a lot thicker. I will say that you actually have a small compromise on the dynamic range, because the dynamic range with pickups that are hot, right, you actually make lose a bit of dynamic range because it just comes out thick, like it's like big blocks, instead of like, oh, you have a thin and then it goes up in terms of the frequency pattern as well. So other things on the 498 and 500, I will say, are the ceramic magnets. The ceramic magnets actually make a big difference in the sound, I feel, because the ceramic magnets, I mean, they are good and bad, I'll say. I mean, like, with every kind of pickup, there's definitely its pros and cons, what is good for, what is not good for. So ceramic, I think it goes really, really well with all the high gain application stuff. High gain stuff, you want that really, really heavy distorted sound. that one's pretty straightforward. But when you're talking about something that's low output, like PAF pickup, I think maybe I should like rephrase a bit. So PAF pickups are generally on the lower output of things as compared to like most of your modern pickups. PAF output is almost single coil like, ranging from anywhere from 7.7 to 8.8k kilo ohms actually. So whereas like your modern pickup will usually range from anywhere from 10 to like 25k easily. Yeah, so that I think will be the main difference in terms of the pickup and the overall response of the sound.
Okay. So I myself have discovered there are more dynamics in this new set of pickup, or this. I can't possibly call it a new set of pickups. It's like a replica of a real pickup, right? So, yeah. So I find it's more dynamic in many ways. Yeah. So is that the case for the OPFs?
Yes, the OPFs actually have a lot of dynamic range, and there is something really special about those. I will say a nice microphonic response. I know most guitar players like you and me, alike, right? We all do not like microphonic feedback, you know. But sometimes you want to have that like little hint of that nice microphonic response to get the almost singing character from the pickup itself. I think that was the main thing that I was trying to achieve. I wanted to achieve a humbucker where it actually sings, because humbuckers don't really have a singing tone to it. Most modern humbuckers don't, I find, unless it's specifically voiced for this way.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Seymour Duncans are actually quite nice. I mean, they have nice blooms, like the pearly gates that you installed for me. You know, I find they have really nice.
Very sweet pickups.
Yeah. So, wow, you know, this is just different preference, I guess. But for this, okay, so I just found out that the 500Ts are actually ceramic. There is a difference in tone. Other than the fact that, you know, the old set of pickups actually have, you know, they actually have higher outputs. This has way lower outputs than the original ones, which is the 498 and the 500T. But I really love the neck pickup. You know, I find the neck pickup is really something else. You know, it's always the case when I do a review, right? And then I don't think too much about it, and I just record it, and then I'll upload it, and then in my free time I will just check back and see what's the camera angle and how's the sound, and I go like, wow, this pickup really sound good, or this guitar really sound good. So it's the same case, you know. It's like, wow, the neck pickup really sounds good. The bridge pickup, I myself felt like it was a bit like bright, right? It cuts, you know. Like one of the subscribers says that it sounds like it has teeth in it.
Biting. It's biting.
Yeah. So it's great, you know. I don't mind it because I can always kind of like EQ it off, which I did, you know. As opposed to the bridge pickup, the old bridge pickup, which is a 500T, right? Is it a 500T or 498?
500T.
Yeah.
For the bridge.
The 500T actually sounds more rounder. And then again, we're talking about higher output, so there is going to be compression in many sense. So, yeah, it's a bit mind-boggling actually if you come and think about gain staging, you know, and different magnets and, you know, different tones. I myself, I prefer ceramic. You should know me. I prefer ceramics.
You always like ceramic magnets.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm weird that way anyway. So cool. So okay, let's just look at what the rest of the guys are. Okay, a couple of guys I want to say hello to. Hello Munano. Hello Larry. Orion. Yeah, apart from you, Wayne, he's the only one who calls me uncle, and I think he's older than you, I guess. And Robert, yeah, Kendricks. Hi Tom. Top of the morning to you. Hey, Robert Clark, how are you? Okay, so someone is asking like any plans to make more pickups to sell. Oh, and let's get to Robert first. Robert is like kind of he just kind of weighs it. How much? Wayne, take my money.
Yeah,
how much is it?
The PF sets, when I launch it, I'm actually pricing them at $380 US. So launch, I'm trying to expect it to happen sometime in September. So I'm actually closing my shop from the 8th of August onwards till September to actually really focus on the marketing, the website, making the actual pickups, making more of these. I have one order. I have two more orders for the PAS right now actually that I have yet to fulfill. So one's going to Indonesia. I think it belongs to one of the viewers on your channel. His name is Will actually. So
All
He
right.
contacted me through our channel, so I owe him one set. 20?
25.
Yeah, so anyway, to answer the question, yeah, it's going for 380 US. These sets come with covers, so if you want them aged, I've yet to work out the pricing for the aged covers and without covers as well. So without covers, they'll definitely be cheaper, but 380 US is just for like the standard set. So these come with the CAB bobbins, which is the same plastics that they used in the 50s and 60s. So the plastic is very interesting. It actually gives a totally different response from a modern bobbin, which is made of ABS, for example. Yeah, so the vintage correct plastics, they even smell like a vintage pickup.
Yeah, you're telling me it sounds like puke.
Yeah, it smells like beer and vomit, actually.
You got a very different nose from me. I told Wayne that it actually smell like, what happens when you have termite in your home, and then you kind of spray that sort of thing over your woodwork. Yeah, it smells like that. But he smells it as vomit. Weird. Anyway,
Yeah, it smells like puke.
they were asking like people were asking like, how much does it take to ship it to the US?
I'm trying to figure out a shipping thing right now. So if I can work out shipping, I could probably include the shipping in the price itself to the US. But right now, I'm still working with some freight forwarders to figure out pricing as well. Haven't got down to that, so I'll let you know. If not, usually I think, if I'm not wrong, shipping to the US would be another 30 or 35 US extra for a set of pickups, because pickups are heavy, man. They're not light, and the way the Singapore Postal Service works is that it's volumetric. They don't care how big it is. It's either if it's bigger than the weight, or if the weight is bigger than the size, they'll just take the one that's bigger and bill me for that. So yeah, but I've got receipts for all the shipping, so don't worry.
So you're talking about the $380. It might include shipping.
It may. I'm trying to work out the price deal with another postal company. So if I can get a good deal on the shipping rates, because right now with the whole COVID and all, shipping has been really, really bad. And shipping, I just recently shipped some stuff from the US. It's been taking forever to come in. Yeah, I've been waiting for about a month and a half, and my things are not here. And these are parts for my customers' repairs. So yeah, shipping is a tricky situation right now. And the only shippers so far that have been reliable is DHL, and DHL charges a bomb. DHL is very expensive to ship by. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you see. You get me posted, and I'll try to put up information if I can.
Thank you, Uncle John.
But
Thanks
if you
for all
guys,
the plugs.
yeah, 25%. And if you guys like, just keep on going out, okay? So if you guys are interested in Wayne's pickup, I left a his email. So anytime you need to ask him, you can always email him, right? And kind of remind him that he still owes me like 25% of the whole gross. And anyway, hi Andrew. Tom has a statement. He says that these pickups are a work of art, beautiful tone, nicely done, Wayne.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, so he also asks, once you did the research on the pickups, on this set of pickups, how long did it take you to physically make them?
Physically making the pickups, I think it didn't really take very long. The winding itself, I will say probably took me about 2.5 hours for both, for the pair of humbuckers, 2.5 hours for the winding, plus all the assembly, probably maybe about 4 hours of work in total. I think so, winding plus physical assembly, installing everything, making sure they work, probably about 4 to 4.5 hours of work.
As a businessman, you could kind of elongate that time period a bit to justify the cost. You could say it took me a day and a half, something like that.
No, it doesn't. You have to be realistic also, lah. Like I can't tell people that it's unrealistic. It doesn't take that long to make and assemble a pickup.
See, that's a problem.
But
Wayne is not a businessman. Okay, whatever it is, Wayne is not a businessman. Wayne is a musician.
businessman.
He's a passionate musician. He wants to be a businessman. Okay, he's starting on this venture, and if you guys are interested, I think you guys should just support him, because he really believes in what he does. These are all made with love and care, so he has a passion in it. And as you can tell by the way he talks anyway, so I like to jab him every now and then. But I love
Go
him.
ahead. I can take it.
You can take it. Right. So, Stuart, Stuart, he has a question. Say, now I need a set of throwback PAS and do a shootout. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. I think maybe I'll answer this.
Yes.
So throwback pickups. So this is actually my answer to throwbacks because I'm sure many of you know throwback pickups go for a lot of money. I think those pickups go for about $550 US for a set. Yeah, and the selling point of those pickups and throwbacks was actually one of the inspirations that I looked to when I was building this set of pickups. I've got two guys that really inspired me when I was making my PF pickups. One guy was Throwback, and Joe from Throwback actually. I read a lot of articles from Joe Gundry from Throwback actually. So Joe actually gave me Joe's website, the pffhumbucker.com. He actually gave me a lot of insights on my initial research before I actually went further into the research. And then another guy was Wiz Pickups from Croatia actually. So these two was the real inspiration for me to like move on because I mean coming from the guitar player's point of view, if you're going to be shelling out $450 to $550 US for a set of humbucker pickups, man, it's actually a lot of money, you know. And you also do understand that, I mean, you would be comparing this like, oh, if I buy a DiMaggio or a Seymour Duncan, it's so much cheaper. The main difference in the cost for all these pickups is actually really the raw material cost itself. Like the plastics actually cost quite a bit more than standard bobbin. The magnets used are different. The metallurgy of the pole pieces, the screws, the slugs, the keeper bars inside the pickup itself, those are actually very different from your average humbucker that most of your name brand carries. So yeah, I think if I can ever get a set of throwback PAFs, I'll pass some to you, Uncle Johnny, can do a shootout.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that means you gotta install them for me. You know I'm very bad at soldering.
It's okay. I'll do it for you. It's all in the good of pickups, man.
All right. Hey, so you guys like this video? Just hit the like button because I'm seeing like 30 over people, but I have like likes of 11. So just hit that like button. It doesn't cost you a cent, right? In any case, you want to buy us a coffee, you know, go ahead and hit that that super chat sticker thing.
The dollar sign.
Yeah. Hi, Kim. All right. Any more questions, you guys? If not, I'm gonna ask my own questions. Okay. So this repro pickups, you know, there are people who owns modern days guitar, like, you know, maybe a Harley Benton or a PRS, or, you know, is that where your market is actually hitting for? Like, you know, are you aiming for these guys who own a modern Gibson type of whatever it is, like, you know, a guitar and a modern guitar, but it's not really digging the modern sound, but just wanted to go back in time to the old period. Is that what you're...
The traditional sound? Yeah, so no. Actually, initially my target crowd for this set of pickups was for guys who really wanted that burst tone. I call it burst tone because like the 58 to 60 Les Pauls were all sunburst, and there is a term like in the vintage guitar world, we just refer to them as burst. So I really wanted to achieve the burst tone, and I mean, not to bash Gibson or anything, but I mean, over the last few years, even all the expensive Gibson 59 reissue Les Pauls, the pickups on those guitars, actually, to be honest, sound nothing like the original burst at all. I mean, it sounds very close, very similar, but very close and very similar. This term is subjective. If you ask me to give like a figure to it, it probably sounds maybe like 65% to 70% close to an original burst, which is, I think, quite far off. And after I had the chance to actually install a lot of throwbacks, Wiz for my customers. I used to have a set of Wiz humbuckers actually. I bought them used, so I didn't pay a lot of money for those. So
was it good?
I fixed on really, really good. I mean, that was actually the sound that I was going for. I was like, hey, like if Wiz can do it out of Croatia, like I could probably do it out of Singapore too, you know. And Wiz also, that's like what Stuart said earlier. I think Stuart says that he respects the level of nerd at throwback. So Wiz's level of nerd is also next level. I would say on par with throwback, and that's the kind of level of nerd that I've had as well. Like I really actually
well, you look the part.
The exact details.
Yeah, you look the part. You look like a nerd.
Yeah. Used to be a musician.
Yeah. So okay. So you actually try all these pickups. So what do you think? Your own personal opinion. Take away the ego and everything. Where do you think your pickups stand in comparison?
I think my pickups actually are in the same range as those pickups in terms of the response. I mean, take all ego aside. I think I'm very happy with how it sounds, and I've come pretty damn close to exactly what I want in my head after hearing all these pickups.
Okay.
And playing them actively live. I actually used a set of Wiz live before. I think maybe this was 2014 to 2015 when I was still gigging actively in the clubs. I actually had them installed on my Les Paul, and I was playing it with it, and it's like, wow. I mean, the Wiz sound live there is a magical character to it. I can't really explain in words. There's this singing, there is this nice clarity, chime, note separation, all the little things that you will expect in a nice pickup, expensive pickup, and a pickup that actually costs that much money. There's a reason why they actually cost so much in comparison to all these others out there. Yeah, so if you ask me, I think I come pretty close. I think my next question is for you, Uncle John. Like, what do you think? Like after playing them with a fresh set of ears, I installed them for you on Tuesday, so you told me that you're going to give it until Friday.
Yeah, you installed on Thursday, right? Was it on Thursday? No,
Tuesday.
On Tuesday. And then you have your greasy little fingers all over it.
Sorry.
And then and then my strings were breaking every now and then, right? You remember? It kept on breaking, and you kept on replacing the strings. That's probably because, maybe the strings are a tad old, but they're not really that old, But anyway, I brought it home. I mean, I play in your place. I wasn't too impressed with the sound, to tell you frankly, because of the THR that you're using. I'm not really used to the THR, the Yamaha THRs, and I was like thinking it's kind of bright, it might be a whole lot brighter than the original pickups that I have, but then I know that the gain is way lower than the 498s and the 500s, which is what I wanted. So when I got home, I actually give the guitar a wipe down and just put it in my case and forgot about it. I just want to forget about it, because I don't want whatever I hear in your place to influence anything. Because the first thing you expect me to come home is to make a review, right? Which I didn't. I wish I didn't. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I want to do, but I control myself. So I waited until yesterday, right? It's Friday. Took it out, changed the strings, everything, and kind of adjusted the pickup heights again, because it was a bit, it's for me, right? It's my own setting, my own ears. So played through my Helix Native, and good lord, I was impressed. Yeah, what really hit me was the neck pickup. The neck pickup has a character of its own, which I don't hear in other pickups. I played through a whole lot of PAFs, like the 335s and my Tokai 335s, the other people's Les Paul and whatnot, and PRS, but this is so so different, so unique. It has a charm about it, which I can't put my fingers down on it. It has.
That's exactly what I cannot put it on as well. I couldn't put what's the word on it. Yeah, but carry on, Uncle John.
Yeah, and especially on the middle position, I find that, oh my good lord, that's the sound that I can use for my recordings if I want to, and the neck position is a class by itself. Now the bridge pickup has a different tone altogether. I can see that bridge. I can hear that bridge pickup in many of the old 1970s, recordings, like from Little Skinner, people like that, even Joe Walsh, and yeah, it just had that charm in it. Now on the flip side, we had the distortion, right? So with the modern take on how we play distortion nowadays, like for our solo, for our grounders and stuff like that, this will come in a little bit. It bites. So I have to cut down a whole lot of highs, cut down a whole lot of presence, and bring up the mids a little bit to kind of like get the sound that I wanted in my ears, and it worked. It worked perfectly. And because it has that bite to begin with, I knew there and then that sound is going to cut through any mix. You get what I mean? Some guitars, like you have the bridge pickup and it sounds so creamy and so nice, and then you're like, oh, this is so nice, and then when you record it, it somehow gets lost in the mix because it's too, the edges are rolled off. This has the edge on. It's like on the wings.
It's rough.
Yeah, and
It's got
it's,
rough,
it's
rough on
great.
the
It's great.
edges.
It's great. Yeah, it works. So I have other guitars for the rounded stuff if you want to, but this is the one that I will use for more edges sound, and that's what I think. Right. Anyway, yeah. Let me just get back to some of the questions. Wait, we'll talk about P90s later on. Come on, guys. I have 37 people here. Just hit the like button, please. Okay, and Ying Long is here. Hi, Long.
Hi, Ying Long.
Hi, Randy. Hi, David Askin. How are you, my brother? Hi, Brian. Andrew Hayes. No, you're not late. You're just in time. All right, who else is here? Jack Collins. How are you, Jack? Missed you. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, so let's get to the question. Okay, Randy has interesting questions. For Wayne, why do you put Seymour Duncan's SH16 59 custom hybrid into John's Harley Benton? He didn't decide it for me. I decided for him. I decided to put them in. And to tell you frankly, I have no idea how they sound like, but I was pleasantly surprised. That's also because of the recommendation from Wayne. So maybe the recommendation from Wayne. That's the thing you should be asking Wayne. Right? Not
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Why I recommended that? I mean, I've been following Uncle John for years in terms of your musical career. I've always watched you live on karaoke, like live versions from famous Asian artists, right? So I've always loved the tone that you were producing on the Luke from your early days, actually. So all the tones from the Luke for me was that was the sound, man. And Seymour Duncan 59 actually has a very similar character to my PAF. I mean, character-wise, I will say they are almost the same thing, but of course you don't have that little extra magic, like the last 10% that's kind of missing on the 59. And custom hybrid, of course, I mean, it's a very versatile pickup for rock music, pop music. You can use it for. It's just very versatile and functional in many settings, not just it's a particular sound or something. And I knew that you wanted a pickup set that was versatile as well, so that was how I kind of came up with the pairing. I said, hey, Uncle John, go check out the 59 and custom hybrid before you make any decision. Because I think you wanted the pearly gates at first, right? Initially. Yeah, so I came up with that, and it was also a stock issue at the shop. Like I was at Davis Guitars asking for Seymour Duncan pickup for you. And then they told me, oh, yeah, we are out of stock of the pearly gates. So, like, and then I kind of looked at in the glass cabinet. I was like, oh, they have that there. And then I was like, I actually remember trying those pickups on my own guitars as well before. So, I was like, yeah, I remember the custom hybrid sounds really good. And it's like, Uncle John, go check it out, man. It's something that I actually used to like a lot.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I had pearly gates for the bridge and for the neck, right? Was it pearly gates? Yeah, because they ran out of stock for the pearly gates for the bridge.
Yeah.
So I hope that answered your question, Randy. Yeah. So, well, I trusted him, so it came true, and I kind of like the 59. What's the other? Okay, Surat, are your pickups 4-wire, and what do you think of vintage style wiring?
Okay, to be honest, I love the vintage style wiring. I don't like modern wiring. Very simply, modern wiring has your tone control wired in a different way. So when you roll off the volume, the tone doesn't really react with it. But when with the vintage style 50s wiring, I think that's what Stuart is referring to. So with 50s wiring, right, the tone cap is actually wired in line with the volume. So when you roll off the volume, you actually hear I will say it's almost treble bleed, like you have an almost treble bleed kind of feel to it. So when you roll off, it actually cleans up really nicely, and you still in the highs present. And the pickups on the ones that I installed for Uncle John was 2-wire, not 4-wire. So, but I do make them in 4-wire as well. So if you want a splittable thing, I can always do that. However, one thing to consider when you're if you want a 4-wire one, so these pickups are with mismatched coils. So both coils, right, are actually different in terms of their individual output of the coils. So yeah, the humbucker has got 2 coils. So one coil is usually hotter than the other one. If you have anything specific, like which coil would you rather split, right, let me know so I can actually set it up for you. So like I can do maybe screw coil hotter or the slug coil hotter. Either way. I could not get it off already.
I'm lost.
But Les Pauls, I'm not a big fan on splitting on Les Pauls. Like they should be full humbuckers.
Yes.
That's the way I always like them.
Yes, and that's the statement that Tom has. It says, "What's your opinion on coil splitting? I had good and bad experiences with them."
Yeah.
Mm.
So coil splitting for me is recently I've been trying a lot of different crazy stuff with all my customers. Like they come and tell me like, hey wait, I want to install a push pull to coil split. I was like bro, you probably don't want a coil split. I think maybe you want to try something called series parallel, and I think the series parallel thing works better than the coil split because coil split you actually have an output loss and it makes your sound generally very very thin. So whereas when you do a series parallel, you actually don't have that much output loss as compared to a split coil because your pickups are actually technically in the same output, just wired in parallel. So you have an almost single coil-like response. I won't say it's a single coil response, but it's very close to a single coil, more close than a split humbucker.
Yeah, I mean, from my own experience, even if I have guitars with coil splitting capabilities, I never activate them at all. Yeah, I just find that the volume drop is just too drastic, and the tonal differences is too drastic, so that you have to like kind of tweak everything and forget about it. If I want to bring my Les Paul, it's just going to be a Les Paul and it's full humbuckers. If I want to play a Strat, I'll play a Strat. So less things to worry about. Orion Quest, he says he loves the demo of Wayne's pickup, beautiful and rich.
Thank you, Orion.
Okay. So if you guys are interested in the pickups, you can always email Wayne as to your preference. He just doesn't do humbuckers alone. I think he does he does a whole lot of stuff, even P90s, if I'm not mistaken. Are you starting on your P90s?
P90s are coming up next. So P90s not yet. So right now I have Strat single coils, I have humbuckers, I've got tellies. I think I need to pass you guitar with my telly pickups on actually. Probably next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Your guitars, okay, your own personal guitars. We'll get there, okay. Right now we have who's this? Brian. Question for Wayne. Tone blender. I have 3 P90s and a volume and a single tone dial. Suggestion, if possible, for a tone blender.
Tone blender. Question for Wayne. Tone blender. I have. Brian, do you mean a blend pot for dialing in the middle pickup? Is that your question? Because I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, I'm all confused.
Yeah, tone blender.
So you have 3 P90s. You have 3 P90s. So
yeah, so I'm guessing what you have is a 3-way switch on your guitar with 3 P90s, and you wanted to blend in the middle pickup. So if I were you, I'll sacrifice the tone dial and make it a blender instead of tone control. Since you only have a single volume and a single tone, unless you want to drill a new hole, which I don't really recommend.
He says yes. He says yes. That's what he meant. If
that's what you meant, right? Sacrifice the single tone and make it the blender, and then see whether you like the blender function more than the tone control. Because with a middle pickup P90, right, you're gonna get a whole totally different response. But also be wary, P90s can be pretty noisy. Yeah, so when you have 2 P90s going on at the same time, you may get this honk noise, like
honk.
Yeah.
Okay, this question always pop up every now and then in my live streams about P90s. Are they more noisier than the normal single coil pickups?
Yes, they are.
Alright.
They have always been very noisy, and I'm trying to work a way around it with my Noiseless system. I'm trying to find the right combination and the right resistance for the Noiseless system to actually cancel out the hum on the P90s. And at the same time maintaining the character. I'm still in R&D for the P90, to be honest. I haven't actually sat down and made them, but I've got the bobbins here, I've got the magnets here already. I just need to sit down and do all the winding stuff. Yeah.
Wayne and his toys. Yeah. I tell you, like, this whole thing about pickups is actually really interesting. It's like, you guys know that probably pickups constitute to maybe like 85% of the overall sound of electric guitar. Or the other, you can probably contribute to the woods and whatever, or some you guys don't believe in tone woods, whatever. Then you could probably like contribute 95% of the tone to the pickups. So the pickups actually are the actual soul of the guitar. So it's kind of interesting to kind of dwell into it and come up with a set of pickups that that kind of like enhance that guitar that you had for a long time, but it's like it's all underplayed. You just want to give and breathe in new life, something else. Okay, so all right. So Andrew has a question about this set of pickups. The pure accurate. Are they like suitable for high saturation metal guitar tones?
Okay, to be really honest, you have a lot of metal guys playing actual bursts on the recordings. I mean, take Kirk Hammett from Metallica, for example. I think he just bought I think the guy owns like 2 bursts now. I mean, like he owns Gary Moore's actual Peter Green 1959 Les Paul. Yeah, so I believe he's used that for some Metallica recordings. Depending on what kind of metal. I mean, Metallica, heavy metal, yes, I think you can maybe use PAFs for heavy metal, but if you're really going to like those really, really heavy kind of stuff, right, may not be suitable. I mean, those really heavy stuff, I always recommend ceramic type magnets or active pickups.
EMGs.
EMGs, man. Like, EMGs are the perfect thing for metal.
Yep. They have a whole market that is catered for heavy metal. So
yeah, it's all metal players who endorse EMG pickups actually, with the exception of Steve Lukather.
Yeah. Well, he did for the longest time.
And David Gilmour as well. David Gilmour also uses EMGs, Vince Gill, all these session. I call them session cats. Yeah, all these session guys all also are really into the whole EMG thing. But apart from those guys, it's mostly all the metal acts.
Yeah, and it makes sense because heavy metal is like you are playing with high gain, so you have a set of you just imagine playing heavy metal with P90s. Right. So
the noise will kill you more than the sound of the guitar.
So it makes sense to have a noiseless pickup and active, powerful enough to drive the amps, powerful enough to drive anything, and yet noiseless. So it makes sense for EMGs for heavy metal. All right. Okay. So what other questions do you have? You guys just ask away. Because I can see them, and if you want your question to kind of bling bling, you can always hit that super chat thing. Just another sublime reminder. And I hit that like button, please. I have 27 now. I got 37 people, but 27 likes. Okay, I'm just reminding you like an old mother. Okay, Jacob. Hi, Jacob. Hi, Wayne. Are these pickups closer to the Burst Buckers or the Burst Buckers Pro?
Jacob, to answer your question, no, not at all. I mean, no offense to Gibson. I mean, Burst Buckers are nice pickups. So the Burst Buckers, they have got 4 models now, if I'm not wrong. Burst Bucker 1, Burst Bucker 2, Burst Bucker 3, and Burst Bucker Pro. So to answer your question, no, they actually don't sound anything like the Burst Buckers at all. In fact, quite far off. The Burst Buckers, I always find that they are always lacking in the note separation of the pickups itself. Like, they sound great when you're like on overdrive, when you're playing chords and all, but when you're really listening to things in detail and you're looking for definition, that's where the Burst Buckers kind of lose out for me. I still have like, I think 6 Burst Buckers now in like my pickup drawer. I can show you guys. Yeah, so I've got a lot of Burst Buckers here, and those were also part of the basis of my research as well. I mean, I bought a lot of Burst Buckers and tried them out. I never really liked them, to be really honest. I mean, the clean sound works, but not for the distortion. Yeah, and the clean sound only for like single note stuff, single note lines, they work. But if you're doing chordal stuff, they tend to mud out quite a bit. Or that's my own opinion.
What sort of magnets are there?
They are Alnico magnets, but they are different Alnico magnets. So I think I told you, I explained that my PAFs were made of this thing called rough cast magnets, right? So rough cast magnets mean to say that they are made by pouring the Alnico metal compound into a sand mold actually. So that's why the magnets come out looking rough. The Burst Buckers are using polished magnets. So I think, if I'm not wrong, they came from like a huge bar stock of metal, and then they cut the little magnets up and magnetize them. So that's where it's a bit different.
Yeah, we have a reminder from Jim as well as Andrew that Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac passed away today. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, they're leaving us one by one. The greats.
God bless his soul.
Yeah. So, I mean, I we talk about all these people that passed away. Like Gary Moore, right? He was always a legend, in my eyes, because he was a great guitar player. And I just like, I'm really sad to think that the next generation of musicians will probably not heard not hear of who Gary Moore was and how great he was. You know, same goes with Peter Green and those that we have lost throughout the years. You know, and I guess YouTube has a part to play in this because you know it keeps the memory alive. But then you have, there's a whole lot of complications here because you know about this channel that who's this guy, the bassist? What's his name? He plays for Toto and all that. Oh man, what's his name?
Jeff Porcaro.
No. He'll come to me. Anyway, he was playing. He plays for Phil Collins and all that. You know, Lee Sklar, right? Mr. Lee Sklar. And he has a channel and he is showing guys like, you know, how he plays studio, you know, or how he plays Rosanna live with Toto, and his videos get copyright strikes. So it's an oxymoron, right? So there you go. YouTube has a function to play to remind the younger generation of old great musicians of old, and yet, you know, censor and have all this music publication and publishing companies make a mess out of all it just because of a couple of cents, just because of money, and that is really sad. You know, this is what the world has come to. You know. Anyway, sidetracking. Right. Okay. So Slick Trick. All right. First time here, I guess. I haven't seen you before. I mean, what humbucker pickups would you suggest to make my SSS Strat like a Shure? Like a Sir SHSS.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for the Sir HSS, then get a Sir pickup. Sir has got a couple of nice pickups that work well with their guitars. I won't say work well with other guitars, but they somehow particularly work well with their own guitars. So, some of my personal favorites: the Cornbuckle Plus, the SSV Plus, SSH, I think, and the Doug Aldrich model. So, these are like four of my favorite sets from Sir, but they seem to only work on Sir pickups, on Sir guitars. So unless you're playing Sir Strat, which I'm presuming you are, then yeah, it'll work.
And you were telling me about Michael Landau's pickups on Sir guitars. Can you tell me a little bit more, or us a little bit more on Michael Landau pickups?
Okay, yeah. So the Sir Michael Landau pickups, right? The MLs right now, in my opinion, actually sound a little bit different from the old models actually that a lot of people do not know about. So the old model used to be called FL actually, the Sir FL, Fletcher Landau. So I think they had some issues with the name as well. So they pulled Fletcher out of it and called it ML. So
I see.
The FLs were a lot different sounding than the current ones because I feel that the current MLs, they have a different response. In fact, the dynamic range is a bit compressed, a bit flat and straightforward sounding. There's not much. It's not alive. I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Not dynamic enough.
It's dynamic. Don't get me wrong. Like it has dynamics, but it's not alive. You know, like somehow or rather.
Well, I have a good guitar friend, So Tawa. I don't know whether you know him.
Yes.
I heard, yeah. So he's from Hong Kong. So Tawa is his actual name is Furman So. So he's like the premier guitar sessionist in Hong Kong. So he plays through a bunch of sessions. Anyway, he and me are buddies, and we spoke a while about this guitar that my godson Marcus played. Right, he has a Sir, the Masio Asato model, the pink one with the Michael Landau pickups, and he actually told me and complimented on his playing and said that the pickups are really nice because they're really balanced, because he had a set himself. He has a couple of Sir guitars himself, and he said these pickups are really balanced. So there you go just now with the statement that says that they're a little bit compressed, right? So you said that, you know, the pickups are like sounded a little bit compressed. So
the compression, I think that's actually what adds to the balance, which is why you don't have. Yeah, it actually gives you the impression that it's very, very balanced sounding.
I see.
Because when you have compression, everything sounds.
Okay, another question is a nerd question. How do you make a set of pickups compressed?
How do you make compression? So some of the things to look out for is the type of magnets that you use for your whole pieces, and also another thing is I find is the magnet sagger. So if you talk about compression, right, there is two kinds of compression. I think one is like effects-based compression, and then there's natural compression. So natural compression is just how the pickups are made and how the pickups are voiced. So different type of coil wires will also give you a more compressed sound, and of course the resistance of the coils itself will give you a certain kind of compression that you have on the pickups as well.
Alright.
So not saying like the MLs are bad, like just that
No.
I find that it's
I think it sounds sweet. I actually kind of like it.
They do sound very, very sweet. Just that I personally find that it's missing a bit of life, but the balance aspect of it, right? The compression, I think it's actually very nice sounding.
So you were mentioning about the way they're staggered. So does the pole height matters?
Yes, it matters. Remember your ST62 that I did for you? So we brought the G magnet down manually to balance out the overall response of the individual strings.
So there you go, Nerdland. Okay, so strings, pole pieces, individual pole pieces, how you lower certain ones and how you bring up certain ones, and that kind of make it a balanced sound. So it flips me every time I think about this.
It's pickups are a whole different world compared to just talking about guitars.
Yeah. We can spend 24 hours, maybe more than that, talking about pickups. Anyway, Trap has answered. Can active humbuckers be split? Yes, they can. There are a couple of EMG pickups, the active ones, that has split call capability. And then let me see. There are some questions here. Robert R. Hi, how are you? Did those Roland integrated guitars onboard effects take off in sales or not? Oh, that's off subject altogether. I don't think they actually did quite well, because we never hear them after that. So.
The VG strap, you mean?
Well, not the VG. I think, is it on board? That means the effects are on board. The guitars.
Yeah, the VG has them on board, so you can actually like do the talk. It's like the Variax. Kind of like the Variax, I think.
But Variax has such a.
Variax is great.
Yeah, it's just a
great guitar.
Such a long history in it. Okay. Andrew. Oh yeah. Okay. Lindy Mel. I'm looking to get an Epiphone SG, but they offer two different types of pickups: the Classic Pro and the Pro Bucker humbuckers. Do you know what are the difference between them? Never
Honestly,
heard of
I'm just going to be really honest. I do not know about these new types
Never heard
that they are offering. So yeah, I can't answer that. I'm sorry, Lindy.
Hi Dennis. Imagine the bands in heaven. Yeah, so many of them. Too soon. Okay. Yeah, you miss Gary Moore, Jacob, Robert R. Yeah, okay. Hi Mike. Good afternoon, kids. Yeah, Mike fancies himself as pretty old, but he doesn't react like he's old anyway. iTalk TV. Wayne, does your tele pickups are they noiseless? I'm on a hunt for a good tele pickup right now.
I'm actually on the route to make them noiseless, because the last few times that I worked on the tele pickups that I have fixed on for my customers already, I intentionally did not do the noiseless thing, because somehow or other on the tele pickup, if you bring the noiseless aspect into it, it makes, particularly the bridge pickup, it makes the bridge pickup lose a lot of the liveliness to it.
Less twang.
The twang is just, I will say, like at least 40 to 50% gone.
Yeah.
And I can't live with a tele without twang,
So instead of a twang, you got boing.
Yeah, like it becomes a bit flat sounding. The
Boing,
response
boing.
becomes a bit flat. So I'm trying to figure out a way to bring back the twang and keep the twang present. Because I played a tele myself for my gigs before, and I actually used the DiMaggio's the DiMaggio Area T set. So that one's got a pretty decent amount of twang for what it is, but dynamically, I think I'm missing a bit of the dynamics still. Yeah, so I'm trying to improve that on my end.
Cool. Oh, Brian, Wayne, there is a chap who stated on YouTube that he compares specs with higher end pickups and look for the same specs on cheaper pickups. The logic is parts are pretty much the same.
Okay, I'm gonna give the most controversial topic to talk about right now. So, no, the parts are not the same at all. I have actually ordered and I have them in stock. I can actually show you physically what's the main difference.
You did show it to me, right?
Yeah, I did show you. So on the lower end pickups, right, you actually have a lot of differences in terms of the metallurgy of the stuff. So just the simple point of the metallurgy. I mean, you talk about steel grades. This is where I'm going to go super nerd right now. So steel grades, you have different kinds of steel: 1018, 1216, 1010 steel. cold rolled 1010. So all these are all different types of grades of steel. Whereas like if you look on the cheaper pickup, maybe to some of you, like metal is metal, it just looks the same, right? But if you actually get these stuff actually lab tested, and then you will start to understand like, oh, the content of the steel and the iron and the zinc content on the metal itself is very, very different, and even the slightest difference actually makes a difference in the sound. I mean, I used to not believe this actually. I used to be like, oh yeah, like pickups are pickups, like they just produce sound, But after many, many years of research, I really start to understand why some pickups really cost that much money. Some of the most expensive pickups I've ever tried, not on my own guitar, but on customers' guitars, vintage PAFs. So I actually ever installed a pair of vintage PAFs. Like these pickups are ridiculously priced right now. I think it's $3,500 US for one piece of an original PAF humbucker. So I actually recently installed a pair for one of my customers, and well, I mean, that's what you pay for vintage pickups. There is that certain characteristics, and of course, if you look back in the history of time and mankind, in the 50s and in the 60s, the types of metals that were being produced in comparison to what we have today made by the manufacturing sector, right, it's very different. The metals in the past are a lot more sturdier, they last longer, they have better quality, higher iron content, whereas like these days, I mean, you have a lot of mass manufacturing, the metal content is different. Yeah.
So, I think everybody knows that stuff that were manufactured years ago are way better than what it is these days, in terms of material lah.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you want to look back in terms of, I'm just going to go a bit nerd here again. You look back into like the times of World War II, like when these pickups were actually made right after that. So you're talking about times where like they actually needed a lot of metal for like war. Yeah, so a lot of the metal from war, they kind of got recycled, reused, everything, and then you're talking about like really military grade metals here that are being used for the pickups. And whereas like if you compare to a pickup right now, I mean, not to bash again, a lot of the Chinese made manufacturers who make metal pieces and all, they actually weigh differently. They feel different from the ones that I get made from the US and or even Japan. Like even like if you just compare just even the Koreans and the Chinese quality of parts, right? They feel very different physically already. Like just holding it, you can feel, hey, like why is the Korean one slightly heavier than the Chinese one? But if I compare the Korean one and the Japanese one, like, hey, the Japanese one feels a little bit heavier. Yeah, so these are little things that I feel really affect the sound. And to answer your question, Brian, so the specs on the cheap pickups and the logic on the parts that are pretty much the same is actually not true at all. I mean, coming from my own point of view, I don't think it's true at all. Having spent the years opening the pickups, dissecting the pickups, looking at the coils, the bobbins, even down to the coils. The coils are a whole different story. You have so many types of coatings for the coils. They have nylon coatings, you have clean enamel coatings, you got polka coatings, you got polyurethane coatings as well. And to some, it's just the color, but to someone like me, right, I actually go into the extent of, okay, how many micron thick is the coating, and how this thickness on the micron thickness is going to affect the sound, and how thick is the actual physical wire itself. So these are the little things that actually go into the pickup, and I'm just giving a quick summary here to explain further on the reason why I feel that it's not the same at all. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Brian.
Cool. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? Wow, oh my good lord, the whole lot. Okay, so our subject is way beyond happy, knows his stuff. This subject is way beyond me. I'm happy I have a friend who knows his stuff. I sure do not. Same here, Mike. That's why I love having Wayne around. Okay, is there a way to improve, Orient Quest, is there a way to improve the sound of stock pickups?
Yes, actually, in my early days as a guitar player, when I was still very young, I wasn't making a very good salary yet, I used to mess around with cheap stock pickups to get my sound. So what I used to do is I used to buy magnets, and depending whether your pickups are covered or uncovered, of course it's much easier to do it with an uncovered pickup. Like if it's an open cover, what I used to do is I'll actually disassemble the pickup, remove the magnet, and change the magnet. So changing the magnet instantly changes your sound. So that's a very cheap way to improve the sound of your pickups. So you can actually just go on just go online, go on eBay, go on Google even to just find I'm looking for like Alnico 5 magnet, for example. So you can swap out your ceramic pickups to Alnico 5, or if it's Alnico 5, you want to swap it out to ceramics, or Alnico 8, Alnico 4, Alnico 2, Alnico 3. That's the easiest way to change the sound of stock pickups. And I will say improve is a subjective word, because sometimes you may not like how it sounds. So it's always a trial and error kind of thing.
Wayne, you're getting out of frame. Can you just move back?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're talking in one corner. In any case, let's just take a break for a while, and I'm going to show you this clip. Right? So, yeah, it's me again. Sorry.
Oh, we're off already, yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I'm not gonna play the distort part because yeah, it's hairy, and it's a bit too late for this. My neighbors will kill me. Anyway, you have heard the clean sound, and that's the thing that really gets me about this set of pickups. I really got excited when I hear the combination of the bridge and the neck. So, what do you guys think? Okay, Holy Toledo, the scooter. Okay, yeah, okay. What a great sound! Wow, that was okay. Okay, it's about a guitar sound. Come on, Jacob. Wayne is here. Come on. Okay, loving that sound. That sounds sweet. All right. Okay. Right. So let's get back to the little questions that we have, mainly about these pickups, I guess. Thank you. Thinking about Sean Lim. Hi, Sean. Yeah, glad you enjoyed this session. It's always great to have, yeah, Sean. Is he your friend, Sean?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing about this channel is a lot of them are talking among themselves. So. Okay. Dennis. Okay, Dennis is a nice chap. You know, I always treat him like a older brother. So he's asking, I have vibrations in the base plate of my B90s. Can I quiet them somehow? It doesn't seem to get picked up through the amp, but it bugs me.
Yes, there is a way to solve it, and I'm gonna tell you right now. So,
Cool.
go get some pieces of foam like this,
Foam, right?
foam pads. Remove your pickup, put it under your P90. The foam should dampen all the vibration, and if it doesn't dampen, get denser foam like those really hard foam. Let's see if I've got any dense foam right here. Yeah, something like this. This one. So this one you can see is a lot more denser than this one. This is like the squishy foam. This is kind of hard foam. So get the harder foam and put it under the pickup base plate, and that should solve your problem.
Cool. See? We learn something new every day. Alright, so Tom, Dave Simpson played some feedback and a chord this week, and way copyright struck by why YouTube and AC/DC. That's right. That's what I was talking about, Tom. You know, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's getting to the point of insanity. You know, when it comes to the algorithm of YouTube. You know, and this music publishing firms. You know, they are just all out like wolves. You know. Anyway, okay. So I'm glad Dennis had to settle up. Okay. Andrew, I have a 90s Chevelle Strat that I never liked the clean sound of. Wondering what it would sound like if I want your pickups in the neck position. I'm gonna tell you how it sounds like, Andrew. It will sound heavenly. Yeah. You know what? Okay. Let me just give you the lowdown on what I feel after watching that video again. Right? It's just that. Well, you know, Les Pauls have very good sustain because the mahogany and the way it's built. But you need a pickup to kind of like enhance it, to represent it in this purest form, and this pickups actually does. And I find that it has more sustain. Strangely enough, it's maybe not sustain, more clarity and sustain at the same time than the old setup pickups that I had, which is a 498. Right. Well, then again, maybe because of what Wayne just have expounded on, like, you know, the ceramic pickups, you know, the fact that it's more compressed, you know, because of the higher output and stuff like that. Maybe that's why it's not as chimey as these ones are. So, but yeah, this one's still retain that warmness of a PF, of what a Les Paul PF should sound like, and that's the magic part. Yeah. Enough, Wayne. Is there enough buttering for you?
You can do more.
I do more. Oh my good lord! Okay, I gotta work for my 25%. Yeah, so 20 now. See, drop. Good lord. Okay, Alan Pappy, great clean sound. Wayne is a master pickup maker. Oh, he's more than that. You know.
Thank you, Alan.
Yeah. Okay, let's okay, and it was David asking. It was Rick Bieto who had his own music blog on YouTube. Also, Red Skull has the same problems. Yeah, all of us have our same problems. That's why I'm sticking to kind of like backing tracks that, you know, that kind of like
no one owns.
Yeah, and there are certain, okay, just a warning to you guys, like, you know, if you're going to go for JTC, which is Gem Track Central, most of the items there, most of the backing tracks there are, especially the Guthrie Govan stuff, they have algorithms all over YouTube. So if you use any of the gem traps, you're gonna get hit by one of these copyright thing. But it's not a total copyright strike because you can get a way around it. You can dispute it because the melodies that you play on top of it is your own, as long as you don't copy whatever Guthrie Govan is playing. You know, you can get away with it because you're doing your own melodies. But it's a hassle. You know? Every time you come out a video and then you get this notice, you know. So I'm trying to circumvent it by getting some of the backing tracks that don't have all this, or create my own backing tracks, which work, you know, which is really work. So anyway, okay, so let's just talk about your guitars. Okay. We've been at this for 1.5 hours already, I guess, almost 1.5 hours. So
I think about an hour and 10.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep you here for 2 hours at least.
Okay.
Right. So, I remember you telling me that you had a guitar made for a mutual friend of ours, right? Great guitarist. who I recently saw his interview, saw an interview in the on this.
What moves you?
Yeah.
Lillian. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So you have any pictures of that? Like, you know, the guitar that you made for him.
Yeah, I do have pictures of that. It's on my Instagram, Luthier_Singapore.
Right. So you got to go to Instagram to go and see it. So what?
Yeah.
Briefly explain to me what is it? What is it?
It's pretty much a Strat, but I was tasked with a few special requests. He wanted a headstock shape that was kind of like a Sir and a Tom Anderson together.
Mm-hmm.
So I married the two shapes together and made I will say it's kind of a beak headstock. It's like a beak, you know. Yeah, so it's pretty much a Strat. The wood combination was very interesting though. It was the first time that I worked on roasted alder. So the body is actually roasted alder. Yeah, so it's a full roasted guitar, roasted neck, roasted maple, quarter-saw neck, roasted alder body. So it's like going to buy roast duck. Yeah, so it was pretty much a Strat with full roasted woods. Did the paint job in nitro. The neck wasn't painted at all. The neck was actually just raw oil finish, and I wound the pickups on those as well. That one had the single coil system in it, so HSS, single hub on the bridge, and then that one I voiced it very closely to Jeffrey's Mexican Strat that you did the demo of with my 64 Noiseless pickups. So the neck and middle pickup was actually voiced almost the same way as that guitar, and the bridge pickup was, I will say, the predecessor to what you're hearing right now on your Les Paul. Bridge pickup. That was one of the testing phases I was trying to figure out, but it had the same magnets, but different base plates, different keeper bars, different bobbins. But most of the metals on that is the same as compared to the PAF that I just made for you.
Did he like it?
Yeah, I think he really likes it a lot. So I hope he likes it. Yeah, he's been using it a lot for his recordings and for his shows as well. So the guitar has seen some good use so far, and I think the guitar color changed as well. I painted it for him kind of an off-white color. Right now the guitar's yellow.
Well, I know him, but we haven't been keeping in touch recently. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about him. What is he up to these days?
Well, these days I think with COVID, COVID actually hit all the musicians really, really hard.
What's his name? His name
is Simon actually, Simon Lai.
Yeah.
Simon Lai is a very close friend of mine actually. Known him for well over 10 years also. So, good brother, good friend of mine. So, what he's doing these days, I think, he basically got a new job, I think, in this local live house venue called Tin Box Live, which is actually part of IMC Global. And the place actually opened in March. So, quite a sad pity to hear what has happened in Singapore at least.
Wait. Tin Box. Is that called Tin Box?
It's called Tin Box Live.
Live house, right?
Live house, yeah.
Okay, I heard about that. They have very huge ambition about it. They wanted to make some pubs are just pubs. In case some of you Americans out there and Britishers out there, in Singapore we have this, or in Taiwan we have this places called Live House, where the club actually hired good musicians above the normal ones, you know, and they will hire singers of renown. And they would like have a sort of a mini concert every night, you know, and that's the concept behind live houses. So Tin Box Live House actually has that ambition, you know, to pursue. But unfortunately, when COVID-19 hit, it's sort of like on the shelf for now, or has it been like abandoned? I don't know.
Oh, the place actually reopened. So the place just initially was supposed to be a live house, and I think they are a restaurant as well, so they serve food. So after the lockdown was over, they actually opened back for business, but
as a restaurant,
there is no live music going on at the moment.
Yeah.
So, but I think lucky for a lot of the musicians who work there, I actually know about most of the musicians there actually. So, lucky for all of them, they are still on payroll, which is a very, very good thing that the company is doing for these musicians. Yeah. So I think I met Simon maybe about 2 days ago. He came over to get his guitar set up, and we were talking about it, and he was telling me he felt really, really blessed and lucky, at least like the company is taking care of him. But of course, we do not know how long this no live performances thing is gonna go on until. So
I kind of, yeah, kind of guessing it will be all the way until the end of the year.
yeah.
So, yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, I met Simon like twice or 3 times, and great looking guy.
Handsome fella.
Yeah, handsome fella, and he plays a mean guitar. He's one of the next generation that I'm gunning for. There are a couple of guys who are really good, and Simon is one of them. He's really hardworking, and he's very independent. As we have some of those guys. Wayne has an old soul. So sometimes when I talk to Wayne, I'm talking to an old friend, but he's like way younger than me, and he understands his generation. So there are a lot of guys in his generation that they're having fun, but not Simon. Simon is like really hardworking. He works for his trade. So there's one guy I'm looking out for anyway. Right. So about guitar. So he likes it. So what is the guitar? Did you explain it just now, or did I missed it?
Yeah, I kind of explained it already. It's a Strat.
Right, it's a Strat.
Yeah.
With a tremolo system.
Yep, with a tremolo system. A Strat with a lot of modern takes on it. So if you want to have a comparison to what is very similar, it's very similar to Sir Classic Antique model.
Okay.
It's basically a modern Strat with the contoured heels, the Goto 2.510 tremolo. I've got my locking tuners on those as well. It's got a bone nut, like I said, full roasted woods, nitrocellulose finish. So that's
What's the fret radius? What's the fret radius like?
Fret radius is actually a compound, 9.5 to 12.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
Simon had a very, very fierce request for me. He wanted stainless steel frets, which I always find a pain doing stainless steel frets.
But you did it.
Yeah, I did it anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much the spec of the guitars. And it's got a cool feature. It's got glow in the dark side dots. So when you're playing in night venues, you can actually see where your fret markers are.
Yes, that's always been the bane. You remember one time when I came to you and asked you how do I settle this problem? Remember that?
That was
many years ago. Yeah, I was playing the dark most of the time with my golden classical
yes,
guitar.
correct. And then you had big stickers on it. Big glow in the dark stickers.
Which is stupid, right? Which is stupid. Then in the end,
no, but it works.
Yeah, but in the end, I got that kind of flowery thing, yeah.
The glow in the dark stickers.
And it worked after that. Yeah, it's a pain to play in the dark, as if we have infrared visions, What were you thinking of? Yeah. So apart from that, or what about electronics? Anything new? Like, do you have like PIOs or whatever, tone bleed, stuff like that?
Yeah, everything that I usually do for you has a paper in oil tone capacitor, has tremolo bleed. That one is quite interesting. So because it's a HSS, so the first tone control controls the two single coils, and the last tone control controls the humbucker. So I would say it's very interesting. It's just something that I do for builds. Like if I'm doing a custom build, I want my single coils to be controlled on the tone with a 250K and 500K for the bridge humbucker. So the response is, I would say, even throughout. You don't have that unevenness or like tonal loss when you're going to like your humbucker with a 250K or like the single coil with 500K. I like to keep that separate. Yeah.
So how much will that guitar set you back?
To be honest, I haven't really calculated the cost of the guitar.
Have you charged him yet?
He paid me a deposit at the start. Then after I finished the guitar, I was like, "Hey man, like just go and take it first and go and play with it. I'll find some time to figure out." So I think 2 years has passed. I haven't actually sat down and figured it. So
see, like I said, Wayne is not a businessman. He's like
yeah, I haven't charged him for that. So I was like, hey bro, like you're my friend, man. Like we've known each other for so many years. Like just go and take it and play first. I just want to let the guitar see some action first.
How much do you think a guitar that will set you back? Five grand, 6 grand?
No, not so much. Maybe somewhere between 38 to 42, 4300 around there. So 3.8 to 4.3K thereabouts. Definitely not past the 5 grand mark. Definitely under the 5 grand mark, because I don't want to build. Even though it's custom made and I value my time a lot, I don't want to make something that is unaffordable. At least
And those are with stainless steel. With stainless steel frets,
Yeah, with stainless steel frets. And as it is already, it's very expensive for a typical musician to want to afford something like that, but it's time and effort I put in the building of it, and it's scratch built. I didn't build it with or I bought some parts and put them together. I actually built it from from the ground up. That one.
Okay, let's come back to some of the questions here. Okay, Andrew. I have a what do you call that? I have a night. Oh, did we answer that? We answered that, right? Did we answer this? I have a 90 Chevelle Strat that I
Yes,
never.
you answered
answered that, right? So okay, I'm getting old. Okay, Tom R. Okay, that's them talking among themselves. Okay, Orion question is: will screwing a pickup into the wood help the tone?
Yes, I think so.
What do you mean by screw? I'm having all sorts of naughty thoughts here, but never mind me. What?
Okay. So what Orion means is direct mount. So,
okay.
Pickups that are direct mount. So like your Harley Bentons, those are direct mount.
Okay.
No pickup rig, no pick-guard. So yes, they actually do sound better. If you ask me like how does it improve, I do not know exactly how.
Sustain? Probably.
Response. Overall response. The guitar just feels more responsive. I don't have a word or a way to describe it. I think the way is just responsive, and that's the way I'll describe it. It just sounds more responsive. Your attack, if you attack hard, you attack soft. The pickup just really picks up the dynamics of your playing, and it just has like more bite and more snap. And I always like the guitar with snap. Yeah.
Okay. And Jacob asks, hi Wayne, what music do you play and who are your influences?
What music do I play and who are my influences? I always did tell this to my friends and people who asked me this last time. I play anything that pays. Yeah, so like being a club musician for a number of years, it's always a very different set of repertoire every time we move from club to club. So I will be playing like Thai songs for like when I was working in a Thai club, and then Cantonese songs, Hong Kong classics, Mando pop, English as well. When I first started playing, I guess some of my early influences was all the shredder guys, all the rock guys, 70s rock, 80s rock, guys like Jeff Beck, Don Felder, Joe Walsh, Ingrid Malmsteen, my favorite still, Paul Gilbert, Vito Bratta. I really like Vito Bratta a lot. My favorite guitar player, I think today, if I was to name someone, I'm stuck at a plateau of two. Steve Lukather and Eric Johnson, man. These two fellas. So these two guys are guys that I really, really admire and just want to play like them. Nowhere near. Yeah, so those are my influences and the kind of music that I like. But as to the music I play, like basically anything that pays me, I'll just really put in my effort and work to play the song properly, or to the best I can. Because I'll be honest, like a lot of times when I get a piece of song that requires me to do some crazy stuff, I'll look at it and like be really confused. Like, man, how am I gonna do this? Yeah, I think we talked about it last time I met you, Uncle John, about the song. It's like, yeah, I always play that song, and it's like, somehow I never felt like every time I play a song, like it's a hit of this, man. Like 5 out of 5 times I play a song, maybe I get it nice 2 times. Then the other 3 times, like, meh.
Yeah, it happens. Even some of the tours that I've been on, sometimes we have a really challenging guitar part. Sometimes we'll on certain nights that that we're not up to it. We probably miss a couple of notes. Yeah. It's okay. I mean, that's the way it is. Of course, we will strive to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist in many ways, but there are times where you just cannot like hit yourself on the head all the time and says, you got to move on.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, Dennis, I never owned a tremolo after watching Jonathan play. I'm thinking about trying it. What should I look for, and do you have any suggestions about a good tremolo system or guitar with a tremolo system?
There's a lot of guitars with great tremolo systems right now. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out here and say it out. It's 2020, nobody plays Floyd Rose anymore. Yeah, so it's 2020 and no one plays the Floyd Rose anymore. Don't get me wrong, Floyd Rose, like, I love the Floyd Rose system and all, and I will always enjoy playing Floyd Rose guitars, but it's 2020 and there's a lot of options for guitars with tremolo systems out there right now. I mean, Ibanez makes a great guitar with Floyd Rose. I think the Ibanez AZ doesn't have a Floyd Rose. It's a 510, the Goto 510 tremolo. Basically, I think that any guitar with a Goto 510, you won't go wrong. That's one of the things I feel. The Fender American Professional Series has their own proprietary Fender tremolo. That works great as well. That stays really well. I think Uncle John made a demo of it before.
Have you tried the Vega Trem?
The Vega Trem? No, not yet. But I've heard a lot of good things about it. And then there's another one, Super V, the Super V Trem. Super V Trem is what Eric Johnson used to use, I think. I don't think he uses that anymore because he's back on the traditional Fender 6-screw bridges again. So, but the Super V for me was something that was very interesting. It had that nice pull-up range and all. Personal favorites on tremolos, Goto 510, the hip shot tremolo system, the hip shot 2-point tremolo system where it runs on a roller system rather than knife edge. So that one's really cool.
What
tremolo system.
What are your impressions on the dual fulcrum of the G&L guitars?
The dual fulcrum are great, actually.
You didn't like them at first. You didn't like them. You told me you didn't like them.
I didn't like it because it was heavy. For me personally, right, I felt that the bridge was a little bit heavy for my liking. Like when I pick up a guitar with a tremolo system, right, I always look for like a light tremolo because I always find that if with heavy trems, like okay, yeah, I mean there's a very good debate on this one. With heavy trems, you have a lot of sustain. You get very, very good strong sustain. But sometimes I feel like I lose the resonance and the call me weird, call me strange. I like the acoustic volume on the electric guitar. Like if I'm playing an electric guitar with a light bridge, right, I feel that the whole thing resonates a lot more. Whereas like if like for example a steel block tremolo bridge for me, I feel that it dampens a lot of the sound. Or like even the brass block. Like brass is very known for being a bright character metal and with bright attributes to the guitar, which I think the G&L dual fulcrum is brass.
Yeah,
actually,
it is.
not wrong.
Yeah.
So but I always felt that with
not all of them are brass.
Not all of them, right? Yeah. So, but I think some of them are made of brass. So with anything that's a brass tremolo block, right, I always find that it dampens a lot of the sound. So that's my own personal take. I always like really, really light blocks, which is why I'm a fan of the Goto 510. Goto 510 makes two different kind of blocks. One is a zinc block, one is a stainless steel block. I prefer the zinc block one actually, and it's cheaper. But personal take, I just like how the guitar responds to it. Like when you strum, it's like it jangles, like the jangly is there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we talk about tremolo arms the other day because I have my own thoughts about tremolo arm. I never actually thought about too much about the 6-screw as opposed to the 2 screws, but I've been playing my Fender Japan traditional 50s, the white ones, and that is with the 6-screw. I kind of like them, A lot of people don't like the 6 screws. Please explain why people do not like the 6 screws as opposed to
people think that 6 screws, you have more points of contact, so you will have more room for error or more room for problems. But I don't think so as well. I'm a big fan of the 6 screws personally. I've always liked the whole vintage Fender thing. I've always been a Fender player all my life. So 6 screws to me, if you want me to put a description to it, it's like the best bridge in the world, as Ingwe Malmsteen would say.
Yes.
Ingwe Malmsteen did a video, I think, 2 weeks back, and posted on Facebook. I saw the video on Facebook, and he was describing and explaining the Strats history. And he was saying that, the 6-screw tremolo, like these modern guys, they make them with 2 points, everything, but for him, the 6-screw is the best bridge in the world. So I think that the 6-screw bridge is really one of the best inventions that guitar players actually have ever received from like Leo Fender. It's very stable. It doesn't really go out of tune at all.
And I mean, people kind of like think that the 6 screws have a whole lot of contact points. And it's because of the contact points that creates the out of tune, the guitar going out of tune. But the fact remains that actually it's a nut that causes a problem most of the time. So when people wise up to it, they say, okay. So like me, when I first got this guitar, I knew that the only tuning problem is going to happen is because of the nut. And once the nut has been squared away, the guitar remains in tune. And to this day, I have no problem with the 6 screws.
No tuning issues at all. It's just a very well made bridge. There is no. It's a simple design, well made. it just works. And if it's set up properly, man, you can do a lot of things with the Fender tremolo.
Yeah.
Probably as much as you can imagine with your modern tremolo systems, but there is nothing wrong at all with the 6-screw, I find.
Yeah, the only gripe that people has is because the 6 screws like flush to the body. You cannot, even if you're gonna pull up like a one tone, you're gonna have your bridge kind of like wonky, like out.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah, who cares, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want, just route a route a recess.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dennis says the dual fulcrum is that the tremolo that lets you stretch as well as relieve tension. That makes sense, but it seems like it would not stay in tune if you stretch too much. Thoughts? Nope. It actually works well if it's well set up. It works like any tremolo system, like what we're just talking about, the 6 screws or the 2 screws. The dual fulcrum is actually basically a 2-screw kind of format, Andrew says that I'm thinking of buying a S620, only $150. God knows what is S620. Do you know what is the S620 weight? For my daughter.
It's the Harley Benton, is it the Harley Benton?
I don't know, maybe. And then upgrading the pickups and tuners for her later on, or should I just spend money more from the beginning? How old is your daughter, Andrew? Ronnie O'Rourke. Okay. That's the only sensible question he has. So how about screw-in tremolo arm or the push-in one? My push-in one falls out sometimes. That's the only half sensible question I have. Yes, that's a good sensible question you have, Ronnie. So screw-in opposed to push-in. Which one would be the best?
For me, I always like the Goto 510. I'm just going to talk a bit about that. The Goto 510 is push in and then you screw. So it works. It's got a double function.
Yes.
So I really like the way it's designed, and you can actually just pop it in and it'll work. You can actually pop it in and screw in, so you have extra security for me. But I don't really have a preference, man. Like it's just
actually,
the arm is there.
Yeah, actually I do because through all my years of playing with a tremolo arm, I hate it when the tremolo becomes loose. The Freud rose, it became loose. Some of the guitars here are becoming loose, even with the springs installed, like, the Fender ones you put in the pop in the spring, it helps, but after a while, the spring will just lose its tension and there you go again. So for me, I think the best would be the push in, those are pretty cool. And I think you're right. I think the ones with the Goto are even better because you have two fail-safe
functions.
Yeah, so, yeah. Okay, so yes, Andrew, and now I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Harley Benton ST62. All right. Thank you, Robert. Okay,
Thank you, Robert.
We're gonna have coffee later on. Okay, so but I'm still 25%. Okay, so All right, Andrew. So what are your thoughts on the cheaper Harley Benton models compared to the more expensive ones? Is the difference just the same, just the finish and the hardware? Have you been doing a lot of Harley Bentons lately, Wayne?
Me, no.
No, right?
I think you're the only, you and Jeff were probably the only guys who brought me Harley Bentons.
We are the only experts in Singapore.
And Ian also passed me we bought a Harley Benton a while ago.
Yeah.
So probably these are the only few Harley Bentons I worked on.
Alright, so I probably have to answer that. What was the question again? Okay, so what are cheaper? Okay, I always state this all the time. You get what you pay for. So you're paying like $150. You're gonna get like cheaper materials. But doesn't necessarily bad. Because Harley Benton has I think they're trying to build a reputation where cheap does not mean bad. I think that's their motto right now, and yeah, in many ways it's true. But again, it's dependent on the country that the guitars are manufactured. Some certain countries are, but so far the cheapest guitar right now in the market for Harley Benton is the ST60, not ST60, XT something, the one that I reviewed, the black one. That's pretty good, and the material, yeah, you get kind of weird materials, and not the upper end, high end stuff, Whereas if you go for the 500, it doesn't mean that the electronics by miracle just became top notch. There's still your average electronics and stuff, but the hardware gets a little better. You get Goto bridge, you get stainless steel frets, you get roasted maple, stuff like that. You get like flame maple top. So yeah, so you as the price go up, you get better, you get a better guitar in many ways. All right, Orion, do you angle the nut slots of the D and G? I see. Now this is you are there, Orion. This is something that we talked about, me and Wayne, just the other night. Do you angle the nut slots of the D and G strings when setting up a 3x3 tuner? So this is a 3x3 tuner. So what Orion's talking about is the G and the D strings. Do you angle the nut slot? Wayne?
Yep, I do. You can see on your guitar actually it's angled.
Yep, it is angled.
Yeah, so you angle it and it actually helps with the tuning stability. So basically what I always tell all my friends and customers, out of focus.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to get in focus. Never mind, just stop.
Yeah, so what I always tell people who have problems with the Les Pauls is that you got to angle the nut slots, because what's happening is you have actually extra points of contact when it's not angled, and when you're playing with it, right, if you're bending a lot, the strings actually get caught and it binds at the back of the nut rather than in front of the nut. So I always tell and explain this to people and say that you only just really need 1 point of friction and 1 point of contact on the nut itself to have everything stable. If you have more than 1 point of contact and friction on the physical nut, whether it's on the inside or the outside wall of the nut slot itself, that actually causes a lot of tuning instabilities, which is why the G&E is like the most common Les Paul thing. Like people come to me like, hey bro, like my G&E cannot stay in tune. It's like, okay, let's fix you. Yeah. So that's to answer the question. Yes, I do angle them.
Okay, that's very gracious of you. A lot of luthiers will not divulge this secret, this trade secret.
You can find it on the internet.
Yeah, but then a lot of luthier will just keep quiet. Remember those days when guitarists, when you admire and then you go
Yeah, solo, then they turn around.
yeah, then they turn around and they go like, I'm not gonna show you, damn. You feel like slapping their face.
Yeah.
So there are people like that still. So what can you do, right? Okay, Andrew, wondering if the woods of the cheaper models are the same as on the more expensive, and the only difference is the hardware. Are you still talking about the Harley Bentons? No, there's some difference. Yeah, like for example, the cheapest Harley Benton, the fret is made of a material called Aramath. Have you heard of it, Aramath?
No, never heard of that material before.
Yeah,
It's not even nickel.
No, the fretboard. It's actually
fretboard.
wood. It's like a purplish kind of color. Actually, the original color is purplish. It just feels weird. It doesn't feel like an ebony. And
Rosewood.
yeah, the thing about it is pretty freaky. I mean, how in the world would you know how a fretboard feel, because you have calluses, right?
Yeah.
Right, calluses. How
Yeah.
in the world would you know how it feels on a fretboard? But you do.
Wait.
You do when you're bending. There's this.
You still make contact with the fretboard.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just felt different. So yeah, that's the thing, because the cheaper Harley Bentons have different grade of woods, and as opposed to the higher range. But just talk about the acoustic guitar, for example. The higher range, the Harley Benton higher range has Sitka spruce, real Sitka spruce, whereas the lower range has different materials. Some have, I don't know what material they call it. It's like some of it has laminated stuff. All to cut costs anyway. Not necessarily bad. I mean, they actually sound pretty good, All right, so let's get back to your guitars. Get back to your guitars as well as your pickups. So what are the other ranges of pickups that you are actually planning to come up with? Like, you have the single coils. You have the humbuckers right now. You have the tallies. P90s.
Yeah, P90s.
Right.
And one more model is in the works, Jazz Masters.
Ooh.
So I realized that there is a gap in the market for Jazz Master pickups. The kinds that kind of look like P90s, but they are not. The really, really big ones.
I actually like the
Yeah,
Jazz Master pickup more than the P90s.
Yeah, response-wise is better, right?
Yeah.
So-
tonal wise. That's a
So
great.
that's the few things that I have upcoming in the works right now.
How about guitars? Oh, wait,
Guitars.
automatic. How about the other pickups, like the what you call it, the Ferrotronics or whatever from the Gretsch? What do we call it?
Filtertrons.
Ferrotrons.
Are
you working on those?
not anytime soon. I want to do one thing at a time. Like I don't have capacity and time to manage all of this. There is a lot of things to work on when you design a pickup. It's not something like, oh yeah, today I'm just gonna wind the bobbin and then yeah, it's done.
Okay.
I do some research and studying, and I actually take apart some actual pickups to really understand how the winding patterns work, what kind of winds that you use, how much scatter, how many turns per layer, little details like that. Yeah. And because I'm doing them by hand, right? So the turns per layer thing is something that I find that is very crucial to really understand and how you're gonna guide the wire. So I mean, I do have. I'll be honest. I made pickups that didn't sound very good before, and I've actually tried them myself. I was a bit disappointed because like I messed up somewhere on the winding, and it was particularly more of the wind pattern. I got the wind pattern a bit wrong, and it just sounded a bit different from how I intended, envisioned it to be, how I expected it to sound like. So when I do a pickup, I'm taking one step at a time, which is why I took so long to do the humbucker for you. Yeah.
You actually did spend a lot of time with the humbuckers.
Yeah, I did. We were talking about it, like humbuckers, probably from last year.
Yeah.
We were talking about since last year, but quite early last year, in fact, like March or April last year. So we've been talking about it, and then like I just never really sat down and made it yet because I wanted to get some things right. Because in that period, I made several other humbuckers for other customers, and they had something specific to me. So getting their specifics wasn't difficult, but for me, getting this PAF sound, the classic Les Paul tone that we all know and love, right? That was for me the trickiest thing, because I only have right now, I think I have 3 PAFs to reference from, like 3 actual ones to reference from. So the one that I just showed you all on the video just now, that was one of my reference pieces. The other is a pair that's on the guitar right now, so that was my other reference point. So having only 3 right now to compare, this is the best compromise I can get for all 3 sound in this. And there's a reason why I decided on the magnet choices on this, because the original PAFs, you had so many different types of magnets on them. It's just a random thing. Some of the Les Pauls had Alnico 2s, some of them had Alnico 5s, some of them had Alnico 3s, some had Alnico 4s. So it's more of finding the right combination for the right sound.
Sorry,
I can't hear you.
Sorry. How about a new Alnico 7?
Alnico 7, you mean Alnico 8?
8, yeah, 8.
Yeah. Alnico 8, I actually did a pickup rewind for a customer 2 weeks ago, based on a metal band, hardcore metal band actually in Singapore locally. So he came in with a broken pickup, and one of the coils was broken on one of the humbucker coils. So I rewound the pickup for him, and then he told me like, hey, I want something heavier. So I thought, hey man, like you want something heavier, let's try the Alnico 8, like it was an interesting thing to try out. So the Alnico 8 gave a very, very bright and fierce character to it. It's borderline harsh, but it's not harsh at all. It has the right amount of highs, and it's got very tight bass response. Like if you're doing like chords and chugging, like chick 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 kind of thing, it's very, very tight sounding. So Alnico 8s were never on the vintage guitars at all. So back then they didn't have Alnico 8s. Alnico 8, I think, is a new formula that they come up with to try to mimic the ceramic character, but give it more clarity and separation.
Oh really? To have the characters are ceramic?
Ceramic, actually, the general perception of things is that they don't have as much clarity and separation as the Alnico. That's the general consensus. But I don't think so. I mean, like ceramic for me has a lot of no separation. The clarity may be subjective, but the no separation definitely it has. Yeah. So, but most people seem to think that ceramic pickups tend to be muddy. I don't think so though. Maybe it's not muddy, but it's not clear.
So wait. So you're talking about Alnico 8s as having properties of ceramic pickups?
Yes, with except there's more clarity than ceramic pickups.
So what do you have on mine? Is that Alnico 5, Alnico 3?
Okay, on yours is an Alnico 4 on the neck and unoriented Alnico 5 on the bridge. So unoriented magnets is another thing to talk about. That one is a very interesting topic. So Alnico 5s actually come in 2 types. Oriented Alnico 5 and unoriented Alnico 5s. You know, when you were in school and you did all the magnet experiments with those dust iron filings, right? So when the iron filings are like without a magnet in place, it's just all over the place.
Mm.
And then when you put a magnet there, all the iron filings come together and
Yep.
follow the direction of the magnet. So what an unoriented magnet is that all the directions of the magnet on the inside of the magnet itself, microscopically, is all over the place.
Ah.
There is no exact orientation, but there is a distinct north and south. So those part of the microscopic content is that some of them follow the north and some of them follow the south.
Right.
And it's not all following the north, and then you have a very clear distinct south.
All right.
So that is one of the things about.
So what does it do to the sound?
Just gives a different character,
Like,
like how your current bridge pickup sounds.
so the bite.
The bite is a very characteristic thing on Alnico 5s, I find, but I find after fixing on yours, I fixed a lot of Alnico 5s before, so yours was the first unoriented one that I tried. It's like, I'm just going to try out unoriented.
It sounds different. It sounds different from normal PF, definitely.
Yeah, so I just thought, hey, like let's try the unoriented one and see how it sounds, So I think the unoriented sounds not just a bite. It's got more headroom.
More headroom?
More headroom than regular Alnico 5. I think if I was to put a word to it, it sounds like it has a bit more headroom, but other than that, it's quite different from an Alnico 5, a regular one.
How about tone in tone? In tone differences, like
I would say brighter. Unoriented is brighter than the regular Alnico 5.
Okay, so that explains it. So yeah.
Comparing to a regular Alnico 5 has this very thick bottom to it. It's very thick, but still bitey. I mean, you still have the bite, but the unoriented one, I think it feels a little bit brighter.
So we were having this conversation before this stream, right? We were talking about my preference for ceramic. So it's okay for me to have a ceramic at the bridge.
Ceramic at the bridge.
I mean,
yeah, I think sure. Why not?
Would it kind of like screw up everything, like
You want to try ceramic on this guitar and the magnet? I can always swap in a ceramic magnet for you. It's not going to screw up anything. I mean, it's just going to change the total tonal characteristics.
That's interesting.
I've got a range of different magnets. If you want to try, just tell me.
No, I love the bridge. I mean, I love the neck really a lot. And it's just that for the bridge, I kind of want it to be kind of like not too, winged.
Not too edgy.
Yeah, kind of like mellow a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah. So maybe I'll pop down to your place soon.
Yeah, we can try ceramic. We can try Alnico 4 in the bridge as well. So a common thing that we do on a lot of the PAFs is that some of them just come paired with Alnico 4, Alnico 4 neck, Alnico 4 bridge, and that's it. But I always like the whole dispatching because it's a Gibson thing. You really think back then in the 50s, they actually like, okay, yeah, we're going to take two Alnico 4s and put it in the guitar, match them nicely. I don't think so. It's just like, this is the box of pickups there. Like, just going to take and throw it in, take and throw it in, and it's done, move on to the next thing. So, yeah, I was trying to mimic that magic in that sound. So, that's one of the mojo things that people talked about with the old Gibsons. Yeah.
Okay, Andrew has a suggestion for you, which I think is a grand one. He says, do you have a website where I can see the different types of pickups that you make?
Yes, I'm actually working on them. So come August 8, after I close my shop, I'm working on the pickup website, and you will be able to find the link from my main website, Luthier.sg. So
and it'd be good to have a photo of Simon's guitar and kind of like showcase what you can do in terms of guitars.
I need to up my social media game. It's very hard to run a
Right, you're just too busy. You're just too busy. I mean, you can get Jingo to do it, lah.
Yeah, my wife, she's back to teaching piano already, so time constraints as well. So she also got her own things to do. I got my own things to do. I'll just probably sit down. I'll get her to sit down one day with me, and we're just gonna figure out the pickup website out. Yeah.
Okay. Orion says, is going from a Nashville bridge to an ABR1 a tonal upgrade?
I get asked this question a lot actually. So I always like how the ABR1 sounds. I think Uncle John, your Les Paul Classic has an ABR1. It's not a Nashville. So the Nashville, I find that it dampens the sound a little bit. There is a kind of dampening effect because of the mass of the bridge. But more sustained, the ABR ones are like that. It's the vintage track ones. So I think yours is an ABR one with a wire, so they have wired and unwired. All of them kind of pretty much function the same way, because same material, same metal.
What's the deal with a wire? What's the deal with a wire?
The wire is actually a retainer for the saddles, for your intonation saddles. So if you got the wire, right, all the saddles will drop out.
Ah, so that's okay.
Yeah, so Gibson actually did this upgrade in 1960. So in 58, 59, all your ABR ones did not have a wire. So back then the players were complaining like, oh, when I'm changing my strings, the saddle fall out and I lose my saddle. So that was the reason why Gibson said, oh, let's think of an idea. Let's put a wire there to hold everything in place, and that's what it did. So the wire thing carried on all the way until in recent years, Gibson reissued the 59 with no wire. So, but they redesigned the thing a little bit so that the saddles don't pop out anymore.
Okay, I'm having some problem with this, with echoing. That's what Dennis is saying. There's echo from my side. So I'm going to cut down certain things. And okay, I'm going to do a test whether you guys can still hear what we're talking about. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I know Wayne can hear me, but can you guys hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
It's
if you.
it's okay.
Oh no, I'm not offended. Dennis, I will never be offended by you. You're my big brother. Come on. Okay, can you guys hear me? You can hear me. Just say yes. I can hear you, Jonathan, loud and clear. And I love you. And I'll buy you another Les Paul for your birthday present. Yeah. No one can hear me. Cool. So no one hears me except you, Wayne. Can anyone hear me?
We got some questions.
Yeah, let me just check whether they can hear me or not. If they can't hear me, then something is not right. Huh? I think most of them are asleep. Oh yeah, okay, now they can hear.
Ronnie can hear.
Okay, Ronnie hears everything. Okay. This guy, Ronnie O'Rourke, right, Wayne? He's the highlight of my day every time I get a message from him, because he will just crack me up. It's like he's out of this world, you know. So his sense of humor is like crazy, you know. Okay.
Funny guy, Ronnie.
Yeah, he's a real funny guy, and I guess he's Irish. O'Rourke. All right. So next question, Benedict. Yeah, he's from Singapore. Have any of you tried the Compton compensated bridge for Gretches before? If so, any thought about them? I haven't. So have you?
Yes, I've actually fixed the Compton for a couple of my customers. Yeah, the Compton improves the intonation quite a bit, but if you're talking about tuning stability for the Bixby, for example, the Bixby's just never ever stay in tune, no matter how nicely you set them up. They just stay relatively in tune, but not in tune. To answer the question. Yeah.
Just look at what Ronnie just said. You know, I say yes first, so I win the guitar. That's him. Right. Okay. So, any other questions before we release Wayne? I believe I just went to his house on Tuesday, right? Tuesday. Yeah, and I saw the guitars that are like waiting to be worked on. Is crazy. You know, it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's like heading to the sub.
Show you if you want.
Yeah,
if you want the tour, I can bring the camera out.
Yeah. Show it to them.
Okay. It's really, really bad in the workshop. I've got these guys here waiting in line. Tables are full.
Hey, slowly, before we puke all over the place. Slowly, you're making us car sick. Okay, this is a guitar that he's working on.
One more.
Is that a PRS?
Yes, it's a PRS. And then, you know what? Let me just change the camera angle so I can see where I'm pointing. Yes, over here. More. And then now let's get to the scary part.
And this is where he keeps all the guitars.
So the queue is outside now. And then all of this.
Now look at that. Check that out. these are all the guitars that's just waiting to be worked on.
It's backlog, and it's my bad to all my customers. I appreciate all the patience that they've all been giving me. But yeah, I'm struggling to finish all this work. All of it. All these are work in progress as well. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so that's the amount of work that I've got going on right now, which is why I'm not officially taking any orders yet, but once they open up, I'll be sure to announce it on social media channels as well.
Okay. Sit yourself straight smack in the middle, okay? You're a good boy now. Alright. Yeah, you look good, but a bit lopsided anyway, doesn't matter. Hey, have you turned off your speaker on or you're not having earphones, right?
No, I don't have headphones now.
Oh, okay. So you need your speakers up. So that's probably explains some of the echoing that we're hearing. It's cool.
Okay.
Alright.
Bring the volume down.
Stu Rai, does Wayne do finish work also? Any thoughts on what? MJT guitar finishes. What is MJT?
MJT is actually a guitar finishing company that does relic finishes. Yeah, so
any thoughts?
Wait, let me just see. What was this question? Yes, I do finish work as well. I do relic finishes. I do laminate nitrocellulose. So to answer the question, yes, I do finishes, but I'm trying to stay away from finished jobs at the moment. They just take too much time, take a lot of time, and sometimes it's just not worth spending the time to do the refinish for me. Unless you want a brand new body, I can usually do a finish for a brand new body. The MJT stuff are great, very, very good stuff. I recently worked on one of MJT body that came to me for a guitar assembly. This guy bought a Fender neck, he bought an MJT body, and got me to assemble the guitar. It's really cool, and MJT finish work is excellent, very thin finish, nice aging job. Sometimes, I mean, it can be a hit or miss with the aging. Sometimes the aging looks very natural, sometimes the aging looks overdone. But generally, they do a good paint job. And the colors are very, very good, very, very spot on. Or with many of the custom colors that they do for Fender. I really like their sunburst. The sunburst that they spray is nice, top notch. Yeah, so to answer the question, yes, I do finishes, and I like the MJT finishes too.
Okay. Yeah, so Dennis says that there's a whole lot of job security that you have there. So yeah, go figure. He's like
job security.
Yeah,
yes.
That's blessing from God, you know.
Yeah,
so
very, very
Robert asks, what are your thoughts on signature guitars? I recently did a Nick Johnston model from good Lord, or from Schecter, you know. So like you have the John Mayer PRS, you have the Eric Clapton D28 OM28 signature guitars. What are your thoughts on this?
Me or you?
You.
Oh, my thoughts on signature guitars. Nothing against them, but if you want to sound just like the artist, then yeah, they're great. But personally, I'm not really quite a big fan of signature artist guitars, because I've never owned one. The only signature models I've owned before, probably Richie Blackmore signature Strat, which I had owned for maybe a couple of months. I thought it was cool because Richie Blackmore. I really liked the deep purple then, so thought it was cool to have. Then after a while, I just decided that hey, this isn't really me. This isn't really my sound.
What was the problem? What was the problem?
It's like the pickups. It was the Seymour Duncan for the founders. I felt that there was a lot of things that I couldn't get with that pickup, so I changed the pickups out to some DiMaggio's. I put the DiMaggio HS3 and HS2 in them years back. This was years back, and then after a while I just sold the guitar because it just wasn't me. And then I had Ingrid Malmsteen Strat, also the nice scallops and all. I thought like, oh yeah, I can play fast, right? But after a while also, I just didn't really connect with it. I just really started to figure, okay, yeah, I can play a lot of like the Malmsteen stuff really correct. It's gonna sound correct if you're playing off season, but if I'm gonna be playing this as an old guitar, it's not gonna work. It just doesn't work.
So what are your thoughts about scallop fretboards? Do you go sharp when you're kind of like pressing hard on the?
All the time, because I've got a very heavy left hand when I play, so
Yeah.
I always overpress and they tend to go sharp. So especially when I'm doing chords or back when I was still doing the club thing, sometimes you are drunk and you're playing on stage and you don't really care about how you press, and then all the notes just go out, and then my keyboardist will be looking at me with a dirty look in his eyes. Like,
Well, that reminds me of my old band days when the keyboardist and me would trade dirty looks. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so well, for me, I have no interest in signature guitars because signature guitars are made for that person, his preferences. Like, you know, for Steve Lukather, right? I mean, the Luke is basically a signature guitar, and I was like kind of taken aback by how the fact that, you know, it was so narrow. The nut width, you know, the nut width is so narrow, and it surprised me because I thought, you know, Lukather being a Caucasian, you know, probably bigger than me, you know, but wow, it's like it's good for us because we have Asian hands, right? But then again, I have long fingers. But I felt totally comfortable with the guitars. That's the only guitar that I felt was comfortable to me. Not because I'm a fan of Lukather, right? Which I am, you know. And the other guitars, you know, they're okay. You know, I still believe that the signature guitars are modeled after the preferences of the artist himself. So it might not be you. It might not be for you. Right? Okay, we have another reminder from Itak TV. Wayne, where can I buy your pickups? Interested in the tally set. So you need to get your okay, get your stuff working, right? Get the website going, you know, and that's where they can order. And you know, sooner or later you probably have to go set up a sort of a purchase thing going on in your website. Yeah. So time to go and head for it, Wayne.
Yeah. Yep, going to do that soon. Hopefully, once I get to close my shop, I get to focus this, and maybe one day I'll actually stop doing guitar repairs and just be making pickups. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, is that what you want to do?
Not stop completely, but slow down a lot of repairs and pieces I get the work that I get because right now I'm just doing any job that comes in. Like, guy makes an appointment, he comes down, it's like, oh, okay, I have to fix it. Yeah, sure, I fix it for you. And it just piles up. And sometimes there are actually a lot of major jobs. I have a lot of refret jobs, a lot of routing jobs, actually, particularly all the jobs that no one really wants to do in the auto industry. Like, most people just want to do the simple, easy, straightforward jobs that make fast money, like the setup. Like, people just want to do setups. So, and all the big jobs where people need like refrets, routing jobs like cutting in the wood, broken headstock repairs. Those are the ones that come to me quite a bit. Yeah, so, and these are the jobs that take up more time. So, like the Les Paul that's on my table just now that you saw, that one's a broken headstock.
Oh.
So I actually fixed the headstock already.
Have you fixed it yet?
Yeah, it is. It's fixed and repaired.
Can we see your handiwork?
Yes, I'll show you right now. It's not cleaned up yet. I've not cleaned up the glue at all, but yeah, this was the broken headstock.
Ouch.
So it doesn't look like anything has happened. But I can show you the scar. Let me take off the neck.
Take off the neck.
Off the clamp, actually, my repair vise.
Oh, it has some aluminium shit there.
Yep, so that's where the crack is.
I can't see anything.
Oh, you can't see the crack?
No, your camera is... Oh, okay. More towards your left. Yeah, some more. Oh, that's a bad crack. Okay,
Yep.
so it's been glued on right now.
Yep, I actually glued it back. The guitar is heavy. That's false, man.
Okay. All right. Okay, you can save your muscle. You need to work out more.
It all glued out.
So what do you do to reinforce that crack?
I didn't really do anything. I just glued it back. But it's the gluing process that is tricky. You have to really glue it properly and make sure that you don't have any gaps. So it's all about getting a nice clean joint back.
Is there any other way to reinforce that neck so that it won't break again easily next time?
Yeah, there is. What I can do is I can put a spline of wood inside, so I can reinforce it with wood reinforcements. But
You're not gonna do
depending
that.
on it's a really case to case basis. Like if the crack is bad enough until it's not a clean crack, I'll have to do that. But this crack was actually pretty clean, so yeah, I fixed it, and I'm probably gonna clean up the glue, touch it up a little bit for the guy, and out it goes.
Yeah, and you won't see the crack.
I can make them disappear, but
Yeah.
I think that's why he doesn't want to. Doesn't want me to paint it until it's invisible because the guitar is it's in a very worn condition, so he doesn't want to do it
Okay, so
nicely. So it's just as long as it works for him.
I don't know. For
I'll
me,
touch it
right?
up a little bit.
For me, once the neck is snap off like that, I would just never look at the guitar the same again. It's just me, you probably know about a story about my SG, which I told you guys countless times of how the saxophonist step on it. It just doesn't feel the same way after that. It's sad. So never get your Les Paul or SG neck, snap. Never do that. All right, so Andrew, okay, I think we're gonna cater to you a couple of last questions before we let go, Wayne. I have some questions about shielding my G&L Legacy stainless steel. Oh, sorry, not stainless steel, SSS. How much time does it take for a luthier to do this? Does it help with the noise very much? Is it worth the effort?
Okay, to answer this question, right, shielding actually does take away a lot of the noise, a lot of the interference. I won't say the physical noise from the guitar, but electromagnetic interference from lights. It does actually prevent that, and I won't say get rid completely 100%. Sometimes if you have dirty power, it will cause some harm still, but it reduces it. I will say it minimizes it by quite a fair bit. So, and with shielding, there is two types. So, to answer your question, how long does it take? Right? If I'm doing shielding paint, it can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how complex the shape of the cavity is. It's just shielding paint. Whereas copper shielding is the one that actually takes a bit more time. Copper shielding usually takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Copper shielding with those tape. You're talking about those copper tapes,
yeah,
okay.
To actually put all the copper tape, and I was talking to one of your friends actually, John, Michael. Michael was telling me about
Michael.
Grounding it with wire and not grounding it. Michael believes that it doesn't affect anything with the grounding. My belief is opposite though. I think like you have to you always ground the shielding with wire to.
Yeah, well, that's the normal school of thought that you need to ground the wires, right?
Yeah, so Michael says that on like a guitar circuitry, because it's low voltage, we don't have to ground it. So it makes sense as well. I'm not denouncing the fact, but I just always want to play things safe. Like if I'm shielding it, just put the ground wire. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's just one wire.
All right. So the way he's saying, like you don't have to ground the wire, means that they will take out a little bit of work from shielding. Like you actually can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what Michael believes in. But I've not tried it without a ground wire, and I always like to do it. Like, just play it safe. After I shield the whole thing, ground the shielding to the electronics. At least everything you know.
To any part, to anything.
Sorry.
To just kind of like solder it to any part of the electronics.
Yeah, any part where it's like the pot, the top of the pot, or even output jack's ground as well, or even the tremolo claw, wherever there's solid metal electronic component. So just ground it.
Then you probably need quite a long cable actually.
Not really, just a wire, maybe about 15 cm long wire is good enough. Really, 6 inches long. Yeah.
I have a bunch of copper tape here, which I was thinking of shielding my Strat, my Japanese Strat.
Is it noisy?
I can live with the noise. Nowadays, I find that noise is part inherent of the overall sound. So anyway, if I wanted something like without noise, I would just play with So okay, Mike is asking, what about shielding paint? Is it better than a tape?
It's more convenient. It's a lot faster to apply. You just dip your brush in, brush it on, and then
Do you need a ground?
dry, and it dries. I usually still put the ground still with shirling paint because with shirling paint it's a bit more tricky to do the grounds. You have to put a piece of copper tape on the shirling paint itself, just one small piece, so it makes contact with the shield itself, and then you just run a wire through.
You drill? What do you do?
No, just tape it on. Just tape the copper tape on wherever the shirling paint is applied on, so it makes contact. So the copper tape kind of acts like a point for you to solder the wire.
So when you're doing a copper tape, what do you do? Do you drill in the wire, or what do you do?
No, I just solder the wire straight on the tape itself. Because copper allows the solder lead to stick. Whereas like if you use shirling paint, solder lead cannot stick on the paint.
Yeah, it's actually wood, right?
Yep, it's wood. Yeah.
Alright. So I hope that answers the question. Have you tried the tone right? Does it have any effect on solid bodies?
Okay, tone right is another very controversial topic. The tone right works. The tone right really works for acoustic guitars. Yes, it really does. But how well does it work is another question. So I've tried the tone right multiple times. I know a few guys who own the tone right. I used to have a tone right. I sold it because after a while I just felt like if you want the guitar to open up more, just play with it. That's why you buy the guitar for in the first place. You don't buy a guitar and like, oh yeah, the sound's also open and I'm just going to open it up a little bit more. But right now I'm talking mainly about acoustics. For electric guitars, I don't think there is going to be much
I don't
effect.
think there's going to be much effect on it.
Because electric guitars, if you're talking about the wood response and the molecular structure of the wood, you're talking about the moisture content in the wood really for electric guitars. Sometimes like over time, like you look at old guitars are generally lighter than the newer guitars, and old guitars tend to be more resonant because it's dry. It's not because like it's vibrated enough so it's dry. It's just because of the age and the wood got dry, so that's why it sounds a certain way. So to answer your question, I don't think tone right will really affect anything on solid bodies. But for acoustic guitars, yes, it really does have an effect. Like I have done tone right just for one day. I got a customer who brought in for me like a brand new Gibson Hummingbird once and told me like, hey Wayne, can you do a tone right for me? And then I said, okay, yeah, sure. Back then I had the tone right system, so I just put the tone right on the Hummingbird and I just turned it on and then just left it there for one night. And I came back the next day, I strummed the guitar, like wow, the guitar really became louder. It just projected more. There was more projection.
You sure about this, or was it just a placebo effect?
Not placebo effect. This one I actually took a video. So I it's somewhere on my old phone. I actually took a video the night before, and I took the video the next day playing the guitar. It does sound significantly different, but whether different enough for you to pay like $400 over for a tone right system, I can't really just justify that. Not from my point of view. And my belief is guitars are meant to be played, man. They are not meant to be hung on the wall
right.
or put in the case.
Yeah, absolutely right. So tell me about placking. Do you, in your place right now, do you have the ability to do that? Plaque?
I do the plaque service for people, but I don't have the plaque machine. So usually what I do is I'll contact one of my friends at 3D who is actually the plaque operator. So if a customer comes into me and says that, Wayne, I want to do this plaque, I'll bring it to my buddy over there at 3D. His name is James. I'll bring it to James and I'll get James to help me do the plaque. So, but usually plaque has got its limitations as well. I mean, one of the things that plaque can't do, I think I've talked about this on the live stream with City Music. Jace actually brought in to me his band fret multi-scale bass to get it plaqued. And I was like, okay, Jace, yeah, sure, I'll just bring it to plaque. So I didn't think much about it. I brought it down to the plaque and I asked James, and James told me like, you can't plaque a multi-scale. The plaque isn't capable of doing that. Yeah, because the frets are not even. It's fan out.
It's fan out. Yeah.
So you can't really plaque a multi-scale.
So there are limitations.
So that's one of the limitations of the plaque. But other than that, the plaque is a very good tool to have around. It minimizes a lot of time. So what the plaque does is it levels your fretboard. It can level your frets. It can crown your frets. But I do not like how the fret crown comes out of the plaque machine. But that's just a personal thing for me. I can draw a diagram right now and explain to you what I mean exactly.
Yes, Dr. Wayne. Please do.
So, just give me real quick.
So you guys will stay until the end, until now, like 23 of you guys. You're like getting a free lesson, you know.
So this is how your regular fret wire looks like. This one, right?
Alright,
The side profile of a fret.
alright.
Okay, what happens with the flex is it will actually cut down and level the frets and leave a crown that is like this.
So there's a edge to it.
There is a small edge to it. It's
Yeah.
dotted lines. I'm not sure if you can see that right there.
Okay. Alright.
Can you see
Okay. Yeah.
the dotted lines over
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually what happens when you do a flex. So what I do not like about it is this portion here. The portion that I circled out right there. That's what I do not like about the flex. When you run your fingers, you can feel the edge. And especially when you're sliding, you can feel the edge. So one thing I will say that the flex is really, really good for is it will level your frets 100%. It's perfect. It's probably even more perfect than any man can do it, because I have done fret levels before and it got scanned before and they come out to like 90 something percent. So I think I'm very happy with the result at 90 something percent already. But in order to get 100%, I would say it's impossible. And also some of the other issues I have with the plaque, particularly if it's a refret that was done, because the plaque, when the cutter head cuts the fret, it creates heat. So what happens is when the frets are being cut and creates heat, the metal expands. Sometimes on an older guitar, the glue gets loose when the heat gets created and the frets pop up. So the plaque may not be effective in this sense, I feel. Yeah, so these are my own personal gripes with the plaque, but I mean for a large scale operation, it's very good, you know.
Yeah.
You're paying like, I think like 80 grand US for a machine that will do the hard work of the fret leveling and fret dressing for you right there. All you have to do is out of the machine, you just have to polish the frets up and you have to go. It's definitely playable. I've got no negative feelings about it, but definitely playable. I just do not like it. Not my personal thing. But if customers come to me and request for that, yeah, I can offer the service as well.
Well, actually, I want to talk about G&L guitars because not because Long is here. I think he's asleep right now. The G&L guitars that I've played recently, they've all been plaqued, all of them. Okay. And incidentally, Phyllis, who's the widow of Leo Fender, just passed a couple of days ago. So you know the she signed all the authenticity certs that comes with your Fullerton Deluxe or your Fullerton G&Ls. So she just passed on. But the thing about the G&L guitars that I've tried, I've tried a whole lot of them, right? And they're all been plaqued, and they're all played like perfect out of the box. So what you just said kind of like reconfirm what I felt all along, was that little thing that you're talking about. Yeah, it always it's always there, but somehow or other I don't actually feel it that much, because I guess the guys in G&L actually kind of like file them off. I don't know.
They actually dress them up. So
yeah,
what I do with a lot of the plaque jobs that I do, right? After I receive back from the plaque, I'll recrown the fret itself so that it's a bit rounder.
Yeah, I think that's the word, recrowning. I think they do a whole lot of recrowning for those new guitars, and that's why they play so nice out of the box. So my question to you, Wayne, is what do you think of G&L guitars?
Great guitars, man. Honestly, I think G&L makes really, really good guitars. Anything that Leo Fender puts his hands on, like, it's great, you know. It's super well made guitars. I will say these are production guitars that are on the boutique level easily, really easily. I mean, in terms of quality, design wise, some like it, some don't. Some like some of the headstock things. Some people think that the headstock looks a bit funky. I don't mind how it looks. I actually think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, me too.
Personal things for me is I like the Z coils. The Z coils are something that I was very impressed when you passed me up from MP to do the last time. So the Z coils are something that I find that are very innovative. Even some of their other pickups, I find totally it's very different from your typical guitar sound.
The MFDs.
Very unique.
You're talking about the MFDs. The MFDs, the magnetic field design.
Yes, correct. The MFDs got a very, very unique sound.
Because they're made for ceramic. They're made for ceramic magnets.
Yeah, but it's the construction of the pickup as well. It's not just the ceramic.
It's a whole different technology.
Sorry?
It's a whole different technology that goes behind it. Leo's Fender, or whether it was George, I don't know, either one of them. Its concept is totally different, like what do you call it, a cage system or something like that?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah, so it was Leo Fender's idea, if I'm not wrong. George Fullerton was more of the
marketing,
guitar design aspect.
Okay.
Leo did a lot of the electronics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I follow a lot of the CLF research page on Facebook. So getting to see all the old research articles that Leo Fender did when he was still at CLF was eye opener for me. Yeah, G&L guitars are great, and for me personally, like I told you before, like the tremolo system for me has always been a bit heavy. I just find that the tremolo is heavy.
No, you told me. You told me that you cannot flicker on the tremolo arm. That it's hard for you to flicker.
Yeah, I think it's possibly because of the setup. Because I tried on yours and like yeah, it's okay, it can flutter, you know. Yeah, but it just feels heavy. It's not as light as I would expect it to be because I've already gotten so used to playing like tremolos. I think like if you're moving from like a Floyd Rose thing to the G&L trem, it's great. But personally, I just don't really like the weight of the trem. That's my own personal thing. But other than that, great guitar, man. Good fretwork, nice neck profile, nice back balance for the body as well. Nice design.
All right, so linking up to that question, what do you think of PRS guitars? Can you guess what this guitar is?
Custom 24. Modern Eagle. 35th anniversary Custom 24.
You're very good, but this is a S2.
Oh, it's the S2? Oh yeah, it's the S2. The body contours are S2
yeah, very different. So, okay, what do you think of PRS guitars? As a luthier, not as a player, please.
As a luthier, very well made guitars. I mean, it's perfect. It's too perfect, I find.
Too perfect?
As an instrument. Yeah, too perfect is the word I'm going to use, man. It's a very, very well made instrument. Perfect design, nice balance. Tremolo system works great, stays in tune, stays almost too well in tune. Sometimes you want that overtone swell on the low E where it goes slightly
yes, slightly flat, yeah.
Yeah, like when you hold just an open E chord, like you whack the low E string and you expect that little swell. The PRS doesn't have that, so that's why I say it's too perfect. It's very well made, very perfect guitar. From a Luthier's point of view.
Okay, from a player's point of view?
I don't like how the 25-inch scale length is, but it's a personal preference thing again, like I said. No offense to PRS itself, but personal preference also I find that I find it a bit hard to get used to the 25-inch, maybe because I'm just too used to playing the 25.5 Fender scale or 24 3/4 Gibson scale. Like, getting like in between, it's like okay, like I gotta do the bends a little bit off to get that sound here, but I think it's just me. That was just me. Yeah. Other than that,
when you're getting out the window, you kind of tweak the thing down a bit. Can you tweak the thing down a bit? Your iPad? Perfecto. Yeah, so when you're talking about short scale, right, this is like what you're talking about 25.
That's the PRS scale, 25-inch.
Right, and then I recently did a demo of the Fender Mustang, which is 24-inch.
Yeah.
What's the scale length for a Gibson Les Paul?
24 3/4.
Alright, so almost the same as the Mustang.
No.
Wow.
It's closer to the PRS.
Really?
Yes.
3/4. Okay, 3/4. Okay, 3/4. Then what's the scale length of a Fender Stratocaster?
25.5.
Okay. Now we're talking about like very minuscule differences, like half, 3/4 inch. But there is a difference.
It makes a big difference in terms of playing. Like I ever jammed at one of my friends. One of my friends was playing in one of the clubs and called me up to jam. So I was playing a PRS guitar. I played the PRS guitar. I felt so foreign with it. But like I said, it may just be me. Because I've been playing
no, it's
guitar
just
all my life.
I don't think just you. I think every one of us have a preference to the guitars that we like to play. That's the reason why I don't go jamming. I never like jamming because I don't like to have my hands on someone else's guitar. You know, especially someone's guitar as oily as you, where you're off everything, your gunk, your spaghetti, whatever. It's not about that. It's just that, you know, you're gonna play someone else's guitar and then you're gonna play someone else's gadgets and effects, and you don't even know what you're doing. So you're not at your optimal, state of mind in that way, and you definitely cannot perform at the best level that you have. And for me, I'm sort of a perfectionist. You know, everything I want to do, I just want to do it perfect. So that's the reason why I stay away from jam sessions. You know, and yeah, you're right. If you're playing on a guitar that is not yours, you probably feel very uncomfortable. But okay, talking about back to the skill length. And when I was playing the Mustang, right, I felt, well, number one, I felt totally at home because I used to have a Fender. And then you made a remark. You said, how can you live with that Fender Mustang for so long because you're playing in clubs? And you know, you felt that the Mustang was lacking in many cases in tones. That's what you feel. So what was lacking?
You don't have that humbucker sound and the humbucker.
Humbucker?
The Mustang.
Was never meant.
Sorry?
It wasn't meant.
A single coil.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you have only 2 pickups and you don't have that comparison like a Strat, you know, like a Strat has 3 single coils, Mustang has 2 single coils, it's a bit hard
to get around the tones.
Get the certain sounds that I'm looking for sometimes.
What if you look at the Mustang as like a tally?
Still different. The Tele has got more bite.
Tele has more bite.
Tele has a lot more bite, has a lot more twang on the big pickup, and with the volume and tone controls, you can dial it out. I will say why the Mustang for me is a bit lacking in that sense as a guitar, because I've not played the player series, so I'm not coming from the point of view as a player.
You played the original one, the traditional ones.
Like all the vintage original ones, right? Like the 60s, the 70s ones, right? So coming from that point of view, I always found that the Mustang is a bit lacking in terms of tonal character. I mean, the tonal character is, you have a sound that is like that. It's not like bright enough where I can dial it down. So if I want to get a slightly brighter tone of the Mustang, I can't really get that. But the nice thing about the old Mustang is that they had this function, the phase switch, the on-off and phase switch. So the old Mustangs had 2 switches that control the pickup.
Yeah, that's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah, the side switches, right? So the phase switch for me also, I never really found any real use for them unless you want to sound like Brian May for certain songs.
Actually,
take the switch and people sound like Brian May right there.
Yeah, I actually had the old one. I don't know why in the world would I sell it, but I think part of the reason why I sold it was because of what you just said. You know, on hindsight, you know, is that there's limitation in terms of tone, but as far as playability is concerned, that guitar plays like a dream. You know. It plays like a dream.
No questions asked. Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is like the shorter the neck, the easier it is to play. Yeah, so
physics.
Like, if you have a really short neck, it just feels super easy to play, and just feels like I'm playing a kid guitar. You know, like I can just fly on this.
Physics. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you go soon. Any more questions for Wayne before we let him go back to his work? Okay, I tag, when I first got my A-Set Classic, the headstock seems to look funky, but now I think it's a right headstock for the T-style guitar. Tele headstock to me now look a little bit off. It's a matter of perception, you know. Okay, Orion Quest has a great question. So, what's the most nerve-wracking guitar surgery you have done?
Most nerve-wracking guitar surgery. I have a lot of nerve-wracking surgeries actually. Probably crack repairs on a Martin that is not made of wood.
Oh.
The fiber Martins. I think that one's for me always the most nerve-wracking. Because it's not wood. You can't manipulate it like it's wood because it's made of fiber. I think you will know which model it is. I recently have a little Martin over here. It's the Ed Sheeran. So the body actually is, the top is spruce, but the back and sides are made of fiber, and this one came into me from crack. So I had tried to think of a way how to fix a crack on a fiber body, it's not even good. And how to make it like kind of invisible again. Because when fiber cracks, it's a bit hard to put them back together like it's wood. So that one was one of the most nerve-wracking ones. If not, I will say headstock jobs that have been re-glued by the owner with the wrong type of glue. I had one more of those that's here as well. So that one's a very nerve-wracking job because I'll have to break the headstock first before I can redo the job.
Wow.
And because the guy put some funny glue on his own and he didn't send me what kind of
elephant glue.
I
Yoo-hoo.
do not know. Probably like Yoo-hoo glue or something, because like when I was trying to clean up the glue, I couldn't get the glue out with like solvents or water. So that one's one of the nerve-wracking ones, and he had a kind of a budget to work with, but it was a sentimental guitar because his wife bought him the guitar and his baby dropped the guitar, so the headstock broke. So yeah, it's a very I feel his pain because it's a guitar with sentimental value.
Yeah, we have all sorts of horror stories,
Yeah, so I feel his pain, and I told him, I'll try to work my best within your budget as well. So that one's one of the nerve-wracking ones. I haven't started on that. That one I'll probably take a while.
Crazy.
Yeah, so to answer that question, yeah, those were one of the more nerve-wracking situations that I've been. Generally, cracks, I'm not too scared anymore. Like, it's always the headstock stuff because you have so much tension on the strings. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Wayne, for answering so much questions. Yeah. See, Orion, you're not the only one who calls me Uncle John. Wayne calls me Uncle John all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's so cute.
Uncle John, thank you for plugging my pickups on your channel and on the videos. Really appreciate it. 20.
No, I'm not plugging. Like I said, I'm not plugging. I mean, I'll call it out as it is. If it sucks, it sucks, So I just have to say sorry to you and buy you dinner. That's about it. But it doesn't. Thank God it didn't suck because I don't want to spend my. Okay, I have you back on. Okay, wait one. Yep, sorry, my program crashed on me. Anyway, I'm back on. It was pretty fast.
Dennis, what P90s are you using and what's the configuration on your guitar? So I can draw you a quick diagram before I go.
Dennis, are you still there? If not, we're going to call it a night. Oh, okay. 4 ports, 2 P90s.
Okay, just real quick, I'm just going to draw up.
On a Les Paul style. Three-way switch. Were you doing a portrait or what?
Real quick one.
Okay.
Dennis, just follow this, take a screenshot right now. this is going to be one part of it, one part of your P90. So this is one volume, one tone. You just need to replicate this twice.
Your fingernails are blocking certain part of it, Wayne. Ah, okay. Yeah.
The other one is not so important.
Okay.
I'm trying to cancel that out so you can take this.
Do you get it, Wayne? Do you get it, Dennis? Do you know how to take a screenshot in the first place?
I'll take your phone and take a photo.
Oh, you know what, Wayne? You just take a screenshot. Just pass it to me.
Okay.
WhatsApp me, and I'll pass it to him on Facebook, because he's also in my Facebook. So just in case he doesn't have it.
All right.
Okay.
Send it to you. Yep.
Cool. Thank you, Wayne, for so much information tonight.
Thank you, Uncle John.
Learned a
It's
couple
been
of
my
stuff.
pleasure.
Yeah, I sure hope you guys learned something in tonight's live stream. So if in your own ways, you just want to say thank you to Wayne. Yep. So I'll see you again in the next stream, and I'll see you again, Wayne, for dinner when you are free.
Okay. Anytime. Just let me know. I've been busy, so hopefully after August 8th, when I have more free time.
August 8th, that's pretty soon.
Yeah. Week after next.
Yeah, you can finish in time all those guitars that I've seen outside.
No. I'm just going to be honest, no.
But yeah, how are you going to tell your customers then?
Give me more time. If not, if they really want to come and take back their stuff first, I'm okay lah. Yeah. Yeah, but I think many of them have been very, very patient with me. So, and a lot of the jobs are actually done halfway. I'm stuck with a lot of things because parts are not here, shipments are delayed, everything. So that's why it's piled up right now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Bye.